Good afternoon from Edinburgh. This is our second day at the Royal Commonwealth Pool, session 6. This is the final session. You join myself, Robert Taylor, and with me is Jack Thorpe, who was with us last night. Welcome back, Jack. Nice to have you with us again tonight.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, Robert. I mean, hopefully that's a good sign, back for more.
Yeah.
Means I didn't trip up too much last night, all going well. But yeah, it was a pleasure to be here. I'm ex-swimmer myself, very recently retired, and picked up a few accolades along the way, Commonwealth medal and former Scottish record holder, so keeping myself busy now between Scottish swimming and the University of Edinburgh. So
excellent, yeah, good. And you enjoying that?
Indeed.
What you did swimming wise?
Yeah, it's a nice transition. Nice transition out of the water, but it's great to be back and here present and witnessing some great racing. I mean, yesterday was fantastic, the finals and the heats, the two preliminary sessions this morning and this afternoon of really promising for another great final session to come.
Yeah. So for some of the events we have an A final, a B final, and we have juniors in all the events, and we have a double skins tonight. We had one skins last night. It sort of got there and no more, but a few teething problems, but we've got two 50-metre sessions. So as you can see, we kick off with the men's 400 IM. For those of you joining us, welcome also for those of you listening on the BBC platform. Delighted to have you with us for the session. So we get underway with the men's 400 IM. Hot fancy will be Duncan Scott in that one, I'm sure. Having won a 200 IM last night, he looked pretty good. He has Brodie Williams to challenge, and that will be an interesting one to get us underway.
Definitely, yeah. I think Brodie's a great backstroke, he'll take it out, and Duncan's a great breaststroker, freestyler, so again it'll be chopping and changing. Even in the junior ranks, again, it's a great opportunity to really see some interesting racing in the individual medley events. That's all 4 strokes in the swimming disciplines.
We move on to the 800 free for the women. Leah Crisp from Bath is the local, or the UK fancy in that one, but she has her work cut out against the Spaniard Alba Lazaro. Then we move on to skins, 50 backstroke for the men, and we have the 50 for the ladies. 100 breaststroke follows, 100 butterfly for the women. 6 further events to conclude with. 200 butterfly, 400 IM for the women, and also 50 metres skins later. Please, let's get us underway with the very first event. This is the juniors. Interesting field in this one. So 4 Mount Kelly swimmers in this one. 2 from Swim England, 1 from Swim Ireland, and just the 1 Scot. So they'll come through that barrier at the far end in just a moment and get them introduced. Some juniors also in the B final as well, Jack.
Yeah, great to see them stepping up. It's a tough double to do the 400 in the morning and then again in the evening. Just to keep you aware, it's junior classified here is 17 years or under for both male and female.
And we had some very good swims from some of the swimmers this afternoon. Quite a few of them actually scraped into the junior finals, and we even had someone making a final. Tom Dean, no less, making the 53. It was a surprise to see him taking place in the afternoon, but he managed to pull through it. So there's our first one. This is the junior final. Maurice Gartner from Mount Kelly goes in lane 1. Daniel Kelly from Swim Ireland 2. Matthew Ward, Mount Kelly 3. Rhys Grady, Swim England in 4. Hubert Gantneck from Mount Kelly in 5. Eamon Davison, the sole Scot in this one, from Perth City. 7 is Isaac Dodds, Swim England, and 8, Donatas Dragoussis from Keynes. So 4:40, 4:38.54. Rhys Gray was the fastest qualifier. I'm sure it's all about settling down and getting into the rhythm early doors here, Jack.
Very much so. I know some of the top athletes like to negative split these 100 metres. So, for example, that means the first 50 will be slightly slower than the second. Negative splitting means you'll get faster as you progress through the 100 of each stroke. So again, we're in the 100 butterfly, followed by 100 back, 100 breaststroke, 100 freestyle. So this will very likely chop and change across the board here, where you've got the strength of butterfly or backstrokers initially, and then the breaststrokers really come through. You can see a significant change in the race leaders at that point. It does quite often make for an exciting finish, which is what we saw yesterday in the 200, and I'm sure we'll see something similar today in the 400.
Yeah. So coming down to the end of the first section, we then transfer on to backstroke here. It is the fastest qualifier. Rhys Grady, 33.41 for that last 50, turning in 1:02.37. So he's got about half a second advantage. Backstroke is very much get yourself steady for the first 10-15 metres and get back into the stroke here, Jack.
Yeah, very much so. It's a balance of how far do you go off the wall. If you go too far underwater, it can really pay for it later in the race. Again, you take advantage of those good dolphin kicks, but again, if the lactic acid builds up too much in the muscles, that's that fatigue. And again, that can happen if you spend a little bit too long underwater. We saw the likes of that with Ryan Lochte from America in the 2008 Olympic trials, absolutely bombed out. So we don't want to be seeing any of that. But again, I think Rhys is well in control here. A little bit of a challenge coming from Hubert. My apologies, Matthew. Matthew coming up on his right-hand side.
Matthew Ward in threes, yeah, just on his side, as you say. 2 swimmers in 1 and 2, Burt Gartner and Kennedy. We have about a body length advantage at halfway, and it's the best part of a second. as we move on to the key section in the medley. The IM rather. It's breaststroke sorts them in from the boys.
It really is, and it's the slowest stroke. Therefore, you have the biggest opportunity to make up time or lose time, respectively, at this stage. And this is when you start to see people pulling through. It's one of the most technical strokes as well, arguably. So again, you either get it or you don't, unfortunately. But you know, the top level IM swimmers don't really have a weaker stroke now. They really do perfect it. But again, Rhys is holding his own here. He had a lovely crossover flip turn from the back to breast up at the other end, and again, nice long strokes, holding his length. Again, Matthews closing slightly now, right alongside.
As you can see from the splits, 38-24, 39-24, 39-62. It's all about getting the balance in this right. And it's beginning to tighten up a little bit as we reach the final 100. Certainly the race is on. Matthew Ward has certainly had a very good breaststroke section here.
And Daniel Kennedy from Swim Ireland is still in contention there. He's still in shout with the top 2 litres, depending on this final leg.
And a very good turn there from Ward. Got that extra momentum off the wall there.
Was indeed, and he'll be breathing, so he's breathing away from Rhys on this length, so it's likely he'll be breathing towards him on the way back, so that'll be a tactical advantage. Although he has flipped across, I'd have a little peek to see where he is. Interesting. You do see a little bit of that going on in the longer events. Matthew's right over in the lane line there to try and, they both are actually right next to each other.
And Ward breathing on 2 and then occasionally on 3 just to see where he is. Again, that little bit of extra momentum just takes him a half metre away, but Rhys Grady now coming back very, very strongly. There's little between the two. We're getting towards the business end, 15 metres to go. Ward and Grady, there's little between the two now. Coming inside the final 10, it's Ward. Can he hold on? Grady's coming back very strongly. It's Rhys Grady that just takes it from Matthew Ward. In third place, Daniel Kennedy. What a cracking race there that's underway. Rhys Grady 4:35.92.
I think Matthew got that in the Rhys, sorry, I should say, got that in the finish. There was a nice long full stroke into the wall, and he really took full advantage of that finish and final stroke and just took it away from Matthew. That was a great race, great way to kick things off.
And, Kennedy 4:39.79, clear in third, but 1500s, that's how much it was.
Small margins in a long event like the 400 medley, throwing down the gauntlet for the juniors to come. Well, I think Angus Allison and Evan Jones will likely be the favourites here.
Yeah.
The B final.
This is the B final. We have 3 juniors in this one in lanes 2, 3 and 5. You can see from the caption the G after the name. So they're also in contention for the top junior. Should come from this B final. You'll see it comes heat 1 or heat 2 or heat 3 or 3. These are not actually heats, they're actually finals, B finals or junior finals. We'll keep you right as we go through the evening session. In 1, Ben Harrison from Loughborough University. 2 is Andrew Bertoli, Ellesmere College Titans. 3, George Smith, Swim England. 4, Angus Allison, Stirling University. 5, Evan Jones, Millfield School. 6, Wyatt Walsh, Millfield School. 7, Don Bissett, Stirling University. And 8, Charles Kershaw from Loughborough University.
So Evan took the title yesterday in the 200 medley, had an excellent swim, came back very strongly in the freestyle. He's a very good backstroker as well, but Angus Allison has got an excellent breaststroke leg, so I think we'll likely see an early challenge from Evan and a late push from Angus, but let's wait and see what happens and who's got what. I think it is Evan leading it out. A challenge from lane 1 actually. Ben Harrison just taking that touch. Quite significantly actually. Again, likely Butterfly as Ben's stronger stroke, taking full advantage of that.
Jones going pretty nicely in lane 5. As you say, Ben Harrison well there at this early stage. Angus Allison just on the shoulder of Evan Jones. Well, there's virtually nothing between them, less than a quarter of a second.
Yeah, like I said, I do expect Evan to pull away slightly here in the backstroke. And again, Ben in the outside lane is still holding his own. Potentially more of a tactical heat swim, getting himself just scraping into the final. But again, if you've got a lane, you've got a chance. Again, Evan's looking in control there. Nice, lovely, relaxed stroke. Angus is working hard to keep in the race. So I think Angus again turned quite low down yesterday in the 200 medley and very much made up for it in the breaststroke leg. So again, still to play for, particularly in the 400.
Well, quite a gap opened up between Jones and Allison. Well, Angus will come back strongly in the breaststroke and freestyle, but he won't want that gap to be much more than that now. I think 3 or 4 meters is more than enough at halfway. Let's see what the gap is. 2:08.66. Ben Harrison turning in second. Angus Allison is over 5 seconds to make up. Over 3 seconds to make up on Evan Jones. And this is where Angus Allison should just begin to come through.
Again, he has got a lot of work to do. 3 seconds is a big gap, but again, the stroke, the rate, he's got a good power, good front end stroke, he's got a good glide. It's the longest glide phase stroke of all of the disciplines, and he has making ground definitely on Evans now. Slightly deceiving camera angle, but he's probably taken about a second or so out of him into the first 50. The splits will soon reveal all. Yeah, it is down to about a second and a half now, so Angus has done well there.
I'm sure he'd be quite happy if he's only half a body length at the turn.
Very true, and Ben Harrison still holding his own there.
Certainly is. He's dropped back slightly, but he's still in the mix. And Allison just about on the shoulder now of Evan Jones. Evan Jones, the winner last night of the 200 junior, was top junior, and certainly looks good to finish top junior again this evening.
That was a really powerful leg there for Angus. That was an excellent swim. I mean, 37, he was nearly over 2 seconds quicker there than Evan on that 50, making up a huge margin. But that will have cost him physically there. He's going to be found wanting potentially here. Evan might have a bit more in the reserve, a bit more in the tank. Again, Evan's going to his legs a little bit already. Angus still to go to his legs. We'll see what happens in this last 50. But Evan Jones is looking in a really good position here.
And fast out the turn was Jones, and Angus has got it all to do down the final stretch here, Jack.
Oh, he's firing the legs now, the burners are going. Angus has given it his all, his rate's gone through the roof now. Has he left it too much to do?
Well, it's going to be a tight one. Here comes Allison, it's 15 metres almost to go. Jones and Allison really making up ground, but Evan Jones kicks that little bit harder, and Evan Jones is going to take this. Evan Jones takes this. Angus Allison second, and in that outside lane, Ben Harrison just holds on to take third. What a swim from Evan Jones. Well, at the 300, my money was certainly on Angus Allison there, Jack.
No, well, I mean, it's an interesting strategy there from Angus. He just left himself a little bit too much to do in that final 50. He clearly had a huge amount left. I mean, that final split was phenomenal, nearly a 29 point, but he's again just a little bit off in the pacing, but a great job. I mean, to get well into the 20s, he'll be pleased with that. And again, great job from Evan Jones taking that junior title, the double from the 200 now the 400. Just double checking, there are no juniors in the A final. Oh, actually, I stand corrected. I think there is a.
Well, there may well be Rubens, Robert and Keating.
Yep, so Ruben there still is. So Ruben, the benchmark for Ruben is a 4:27.95. So we'll see.
So this is our A final for the 400 metres individual medley. Here's a swimmer going in lane 1. Luke Ibison from Loughborough. Lane 2, Rubens Robothermic Keating represents Swim England. In 3, representing the Bath National Centre, Brodie Williams. In lane 4, representing Loughborough, is Charlie Hutchison. In lane 5, representing the University of Bath, Jacob Greenow. In lane 6, representing Stirling University, Duncan Scott. Lane 7, representing the University of Bath, William Riley. And in lane 8, representing Stirling University, Tony Joe Trent Oliver. Well, Duncan Scott, like Evan, will want to double up on the 2 and 400 tonight.
Yeah, well, Duncan was pushed right to the wall by Andre Vizayas yesterday from Loughborough, and Duncan had a very tough double, 200 freestyle, 200 IM. Less on the table today, all the eggs in the 400 IM basket, so we'll be interested to see how he goes here. I think he was maybe a bit disappointed with the 200 freestyle yesterday.
He may well have been.
A little bit of redemption to come, but he's actually the British record holder in this event short course, so with a 3:59, unbelievably quick from Las Vegas 2019 ISL Championship. So he can definitely transfer that to the long course, but let's see what condition he is in at this point in the season. And definitely don't discount Brodie Williams, excellent backstroker, qualified for the delayed Tokyo Olympics in this event very recently.
So off we go with first length of 400 IM. Charlie Hutchison was the fastest coming into this. Duncan Scott was second in the heats this morning, but both of them very relaxed. They don't read too much into the times. It's what happens tonight.
Yeah, particularly in a 400 individual medley. If you're doing that heat final double, you really need to be strategic if they're the higher placed athletes and what you're doing in the morning swim. So that's likely what's happened with Duncan here, being quite strategic in his morning swim. He's looking very strong, very relaxed on that fly leg, really taking early command of this race.
Williams holding second at the moment. Duncan Scott about a half body length or so ahead, but he's gone it pretty strongly. So look relaxed coming down to the first discipline. Butterfly onto the backstroke. Duncan Scott with the second advantage now.
Yeah, I mean, I think Duncan's potentially his biggest weakness now could be the backstroke. Actually, it was breaststroke for a while, but he's very quickly changed that. So Brodie could close slightly here. This is likely where Brodie will be making his move, capitalising on his strongest leg. Very good 200 backstroker, actually better known for his backstroke prior to trials last year where he qualified in the individual medley. So I think he has closed slightly on Duncan, about half a second or so.
Well, advantage just over a second. And if anything, it's increasing.
Yeah, I think Duncan did kick in a little bit there. We talked about negative splitting, and I think Duncan does sort of lend itself to that mentality, particularly in the 400 individual medley. You're looking to finish each leg stronger and capitalise on that transition into the next stroke. So likely see a good cross turn here, arm over the body, touch the wall, flip the legs across. Yep, very efficient turn.
32.44 and Brodie Williams 31.84. Both of them finishing the second half on that very strongly indeed.
Yeah, and Brodie had an excellent turn there, very quick around the wall.
Behind them, Charlie Hutchison, Jacob Greenow are really together, almost third and fourth. At the moment, it's really Scott to the fore, with Williams doing his best to just make sure that he's in touch.
Yeah, well, Charlie Hutchison coming through a little bit, a slightly stronger breaststroker. The battle for third place is heating up. They're very close, but the margin still is about a second and a half, 2 seconds there from Duncan to Brodie. Oh, not quite actually, about a second. Again, I think we'll see Duncan pull away slightly now. Brodie holding his own.
Still a good body length advantage that Scott has. 15 metres of the breaststroke to go. Coming down.
Yeah, Charlie and Jacob, stroke for stroke, I mean, able to split them for the majority of this race. So the third place battle is absolutely heated. So it's going to be a first and second likely the position will stay the same here, but all to play for third place.
Yeah, 400s between them. Goodall and Hutchison. Duncan Scott certainly is not going to be caught now. Third place looks to be Jacob. He's gone about body length clear. It's off the final turn. Duncan Scott well clear of Brodie Williams. 3.5 seconds plus the advantage. Jacob Greenall has about a second advantage over Charlie Hutchison. And that looks to be the finish order, Jack. Duncan Scott well clear away.
They're absolutely motoring Duncan there at the end. He's done an excellent job with, let's see if he does negative split this 100 as well. He does indeed, significantly.
Yeah.
So each of those hundreds, meet record for Duncan Scott in a 4:15. It's an excellent time, right up there in the world standard this year so far. Fantastic time.
Yeah, it takes almost 3 seconds of the previous meet record that held by Max Litchfield, 4:18.35, so 4:15.44.
Yeah, the pacing strategy was excellent there. It really did. I mean, it's nearly a second difference in a second 50 there compared to his first in the front row leg. It was consistently noting the splits. He was, again, building into each stroke and finishing off each phase with power, with purpose, and transitioning into the next. And he did an excellent job, and it's clearly paid off. No wonder he's the record holder short course and can very much transfer that into the long course.
And the time for Rubens Robotham Keating, 4:28.90.
Not quite good enough for the junior record, junior
Evan
title.
Jones, 4:27.95. That should confirm him as the junior title to go with last night's junior title on the 200. So well done to Evan Jones.
Yeah, very good race. That was great. Great way to start off.
So as you can see from the caption, the lights dim again, and we don't necessarily have a final. This is the fastest heat of the 800 free in lane 1. Ella Dyson from England in 2. Emily Clark from Loughborough. In lane 3, Alice Deering from Loughborough. In lane 4, Abahero Zaro from Spain. In lane 5, we have Leah Crisp from the Bath National Centre. In lane 6, Angela Martinez Gulen from Spain. In 7, Fleur Lewis from Swing England. And in lane 8, we have so this is the fastest heat. We had 2 heats this morning, 2 heats this afternoon. No juniors taking part in this one. So we're looking forward to an interesting contest. Chris Alice Deering with the Spaniard Zaro in lane 4.
Leah Crisp had an excellent 400 yesterday. She finished extremely strongly, actually. I think she took 3rd place.
Yeah,
in the
just
end,
touched out at the end, yeah.
But it was kind of out of nowhere. She was out of contention and came back very strongly. So I suspect a similar strategy might be entailed here. Particularly the longer events, they do tend to try and even split. Again, these top athletes will try to hold as steady a pace as possible. The first 100 will likely be, you know, getting yourself out, establishing a position, and again slightly quicker, and then it really will settle into a rhythm. But the 800, there's a few athletes here that are far more used to the open water. Alice Deering's first time in the pool this meet. She pulled out the 400 yesterday, putting full focus on this 800. And yeah, she's far more used to the open water distance event. So I think this will be very much a sprint for Alice. But
yeah, something I actually commented this afternoon on to some of the younger swimmers who are taking part. Some of them Scottish and English based. That we have open water coming up in a couple of months, and please look at it and try and have a go if you haven't done it before. It's very enjoyable, very relaxed. It's a bit different to swimming in the pool.
I've had one open water experience before. It was in Loch Lomond about I don't know, 10 years ago, and it was, I quote, a sprint relay. It was 500 metres. That was a hefty distance for myself at the time, but for open water, that very much is a sprint. I tell you, it's a cathartic experience, I'll say that much. It's very different from the pool, but it was very enjoyable, I must say.
Yeah.
But yeah, just a completely different vibe. But again, Alice transferring that open water skill into the pool here. Again, she's likely able to hold quite a high rate or high pace, knowing that she's got that background, the training foundation from open water distance events will be significant, well into the sort of 70, 80k plus per week. Huge volumes, that's kilometres I should say. But again, don't discount Leah Crisp. I'll be surprised if she isn't in contention towards the end. Again, she's finishing very strongly in the 400 yesterday, and again, all to play for here. There's not much. It's a slight breakaway from the middle 4 lanes and that sort of classic formation we're used to seeing. That is coming from Alice Deering still, setting the pace. This first 200 metres.
The 4 that we expect to be in the leading contention, this 3, 4, 5 and 6, all well there. Dyson in lane 1, also within striking distance, but less than a second cover the first 4. 2 Spanish swimmers in 4 and 6. They also look pretty relaxed at this early stage.
Yeah, and even in lane 1, Ella Dyson again, she was well in contention yesterday in the 400, so again, one to look out for. She's out there by herself in lane 1. That's 2 down, but it's actually going to be her maybe in 3rd position now, actually. It is indeed, so Ella Dyson's made a bit of a move. Putting herself up into contention. She'll be breathing across the pool now to the rest of the athletes, so she'll be able to see what's going on. Likely here a bit of bilateral breathing with the distance athletes, so they'll breathe to both sides, so likely every 3 strokes they'll take a breath, and maybe every 2, and that pattern will likely repeat. Again, quite a tactical play for the distance swimmers, being able to breathe to both sides, see across the pool, see who's who. There's a bit of a push from lane 6. Angela from Spain, again, turns in first, so tactical. It's all going over the place at the moment.
But, only a second cover the first 5. We've already gone 300 metres. No one's decided to go. Leah Crisp getting to work now in lane 5.
Which is indeed the majority of the athletes here, all splitting in the 33s. They're consistently across the board in that last split. 33.9 to 33.1 respectively, and a 33.0 there for Leah Crisp. So a bit of a push on. Alice Deering dropped into the 34s there. Yeah, Leah's putting herself into contention now, making a bit of a move. Again, very much a push coming from Leah Crisp and Angela crossing the other side of the pool. Spanish representation. And Leah Crisp from Bath National Centre. Again, we talked about her from the 400 yesterday, put on a great performance. Maybe left it a little bit late yesterday, I felt. She had a bit too much in the tank left, but not making the same mistake today by the looks of it. So we come in for the 400 split halfway.
Alice Deering gone back 3rd, but won't want to drop any further back. Just try and pick the stroke up and just keep back in tension. We've just gone over halfway. Ella Dyson still in lane 1, not out of it.
Dyson's going to be challenging for 3rd now. Just creeping up on Alice Deering, I should say, sorry. May well be right in line now. Yeah, maybe a bit of a 1st and 2nd, 3rd and 4th battle coming into place. Although there's still 300 metres, 350 or so left to go, so if Alice kicks in now, she could still be in contention, as well as Dyson down the bottom of the screen there. But at the moment, the 1st and 2nd really is coming from Leah Crisp and Angela, so we'll see how things pan out now. A bit of a double breath there from Angela, having a little look across.
So about half a second between Berlin and Crisp. As you say, Jack, it looks as though that's where the race, the 1-2 is going to come from. Ella Dyson and Alice Deering still there for Lewis over in 7.
if I'm being critical here, I would say Angela's maybe being a little bit too aggressive in her stroke. Might not hold her in a good position towards the end. Leah's looking a little bit more relaxed. Again, that could really come into play in the final 100 metres, how much energy you've managed to reserve. Though that being said, Angela really is turning on the burners now, so she's very much making a move towards the final 200 metres. So this is an interesting tactic. See what Leah's got left. She's still looking in control. Again, Angela's going to the legs a lot more here. With 200 metres left, Leah's looking still in control. She's still a bit of body length and touch, but Leah will have to be careful here if Angela doesn't pull away too much. 32 there for Angela, so
she's picked it up substantially, and just looks as though she's been serious business down this next 50, going a little bit further away. It looks difficult for Leah to pull this back now.
Yeah, and if anything, Dyson is actually closing on Leah as well. Indeed. As Alice and Dyson are closing now a little bit. That margin dropping slightly. So again, we'll see. There's some athletes that really do sprint the last 100 metres here. You quite often see it, a tactic from some of the distance swimmers. But yeah, I mean, Angela's done a great job here. She's put herself in a fantastic position for the final 100 metres. She's put in a huge amount of work in that sort of final 300. She's got 100 to go, I believe, coming up. We'll hear the bell, which will signal the last 100 metres.
Ella Dyson not out of this for second place. Well, Dyson 33.50. She's closed a little bit more on Leah Crisp, and not total out of it. In lane 7 is Fleur Lewis.
Yeah, if Leah's not careful, Fleur's going to sneak up on this last 50.
There's every danger Leah Crisp could drop out and finish 4th here. It's very close for second now. Dyson now turns in 2nd place. Leah Crisp.
Fleur splitting a 32 there, so she's closed significantly on Leah, nearly a second difference there. What she got left is going to be very tight for a 2nd and 3rd place across the pool there. Alice is making Alice doing a final ditch effort there. It's going to be really tight on the finish.
And coming down to the finish, Angela Martins-Gulen takes that. 2nd place. I didn't see that on the screen, but I think it was Dyson.
Yeah, we've got Dyson and Leah Crisp.
Leah Crisp just held on to 3rd place.
Some excellent swims there. Nearly the whole field under the 9-minute barrier, which is obviously a great barrier to be aiming for in the women's 800. Yeah, winning time there, 8:47. I'm sure Angela will be happy with that. If that's an in-season swim, she's down as an 8:40.9 on the entry sheet, although it's very hard to tell if that's reflective of an actual personal best, if it's a conversion time from short course. So better to go on the day without definitive understanding. But again, great race, really close for 2nd and 3rd there.
Yeah, barely 2nd and a half between 2nd and 5th. Very tight finish. Wonder what would have happened if we'd had another 100 metres there. It all changed again.
Now we move on to the 2 junior finals for the men's and women's backstrokes respectively, and then we'll be progressing on to the skins. But first of all, it's the men's 50 backstroke junior final.
Yeah.
Up to the other end of the pool for this one. 1 length, splash and dash.
So the swimmers on your caption: Lucas Brown from Elgin in 1. And 2, Matthew Ward from Mount Kelly. 3, Bobby Hemmings from England. 4, Inbad Danzigia from Israel. 5, Tony Hill, City of Glasgow. 6, Martin Tartavi from Israel. 7, Aidan Simmons-Brown, Plymouth Leander. And 8, Calvin Fry, Swim England. So it's the junior final. As Jack says, after we conclude that one, we move on to the girls 50 backstroke.
likely see a lot of the athletes here taking full advantage of that 15-metre limit off the start. So they'll be doing those big dolphin kicks. And the more astute among you will have noticed the wedge, which is there. It's to give the athletes purchase off of what is a very slippery touchpad. But you'll see the top athletes going as close as they can to that 15-metre mark.
That 15-metre mark, that red one that we're just about to come to, and as you say, Jack, most of them getting as close to that as they possibly can, going very well in lane 5. Toby Hill might just be shading this, and Bard Danziger in 4. It's between those two, I think, and finishing strongly. Bobby Hemmings, I think it's 5-4-3. It's Hill, Danziger, and Hemmings. 2016 for Toby Hill.
It was an excellent finish there for Toby. Really reached into the wall, full extension there. I think Inbar just misjudged it slightly. It was a little bit up and over, whereas Toby was a lot more direct. He was actually behind on that final stroke, and Toby made up for and overtook. So just goes to show the fine margins in the 50-metre events. You really can lose a race in just one stroke, and how you finish or how you start. Now we move back down to the other end for the women's 50-metre backstroke junior final.
So in lane 1 we have representing Swim Ireland, Cora Rooney. In 2, representing Hovenstatten is Matilda Moeller. 3, Swim England's Iona Colbert. 4, Rogels Daria Colavati. 5, Wanda Bass, Anna Green. 5 and 6 from Swim England, Sophie Bromley. 7 from Heart of Midlothian, Holly McGill, and in 8 from Israel, Adar Karp. It's the women's 50 backstroke. And off we go again. See how far they get to that 50-metre mark. Very strong start in 3 from Iona Colbert.
Yeah, it was an excellent start. Really taking it out, slightly slower rate. Coming through in the middle there is Anna Green.
Anna Green, that red cap of Wanda. This is the pool that she trains at, and it looks as though it might just be Anna Green in 5, Anna Green in 3, and in 6, 7 rather. In fact, we've got different names on the caption. Joe Litchfield would be delighted to get himself in there, but that's Anna Green, Iona Colbert, and Holly McGill from Heart of Midlothian.
Slight technical difficulty there. Those are not the names on the screen that competed. That was the men's final, which is actually the next event. So bit of a hiccup there, but I'm sure the results will be published accurately. But we can confirm that it was Anna Green that took first position. I believe it was closely followed by Iona. We'll just wait and see if we can get some official results up on the board here.
Little glitch there. The scoreboard has the correct names for the next one.
So now we move on to the skins event. We'll confirm those results when we get them from the previous event.
So this is the men's backstroke in representing Spain. Adrian Santos Martin goes in lane 1. In lane 2, representing Swim Ireland, is Conor Ferguson. In lane 3, representing the Bath, is Jonathan Adam. In lane 4, representing Edinburgh University, is Scott Gibson. In lane 5, representing Loughborough, Joe Litchfield. In 6, representing Mediterranean, is Andrew Calderani. In 7, representing Birmingham University, Oliver Morgan. And in lane 8, representing Stirling University, Martin Walton.
Now, I believe we will be announcing the women's backstroke as well here.
Yeah, that's
it's a similar pattern to last night.
So in lane 1, representing Swim Ireland, is Maria Godin. In lane 2, representing the Netherlands, Elise Tanis. In lane 3, representing the Borough of Stockton, Harriet Rogers. In 4, representing Stirling University, Cassie Wilde. In 5, representing Loughborough University, is Lauren Cox. In lane 6, representing the Netherlands, Lika Ode Lenfierink. And in lane 7, representing Stirling University, is Lottie Upan.
So I believe that's Kathleen Dawson has
looks like Kathleen's withdrawn from this one.
So the skins format very quickly will be a 3-minute turnaround, 90 seconds for men, 90 seconds for women, and we will be dropping 2 athletes from the first round, a further 2, and it should then be a 4-3-2 showdown scenario. That may chop and change depending whether athletes decide to only do 1, which can quite often happen. But as it stands, we will drop 2 from the first leg. Like I said, 90-second turnaround, and then the women will go, and it's a 3-minute total turnaround per round.
Slight difference at the start, of course, Jack, is they get a normal start. After that, it's just a klaxon.
Yeah, and the key thing that people miss out on is they only start you for the first one,
yep.
not the second. People were cut out last night. It's an excellent start there in the middle lane from Joe Litchfield. Excellent underwater. Scott Gibson really rating through. It's going to be an excellently close finish here. Scott turning on the motors here. The rate's through the roof. Get it in the finish here. I think it's going to be Scott Gibson reaches in, and he does indeed. 25.50. Yeah. It's an excellent swim. Marginally outside his Scottish record that he set a few weekends past, so I think he'll be very pleased with that. It's 25.45 that he set at the British University Championships very recently, and 25.50, so again very close. So apologies, I think it was 25.45 from 2 weekends ago, so even more recent. And again, a few athletes dropping down into the 25s. Joe, I think he'll be happy with that. And outside Conor Ferguson, again, he was in Ireland, the McCulloch meet, David McCulloch. Again, he's putting in a great contest. A huge Irish contingent here at Edinburgh International. It's great to see. I believe it's, what was it, 30-something countries? 30-something?
34 countries, I believe.
It's excellent to see. So here we go on to the women's, also 50-metre backstroke.
Lanes 1 and 3 dropped out of that last one. It's now the women, so again, 2 drop out in this one. So very good start in both lanes 5 and 7. Lauren Cox with Upan. A little bit under pressure, maybe in lane 1 and 2. There go then, Stanis. Certainly the swimmers in 3, 4, 5 look comfortable enough, and in 6. It's tight. And I think it's 1 and 2 drop out. There go then, Stanis. 6 and 7, so they will take no further part.
And 28.0 for Laura Cox. That's a 1.2 second drop from the heat performance. Excellent swim. Cassie Wilde, likewise, a significant drop. Very different stroke styles there from Cassie and Laura, respectively. Rating through the roof from Laura, and Cassie, much more relaxed, longer stroke, probably holding in a better position towards the latter rounds in this event, as it very much is a war of attrition. Very limited rest. You can see Scott Gibson there suffering a little bit. He's sitting in his chair trying to keep the warmth in the upper body, stretch out the legs. There's all sorts of different tactics that will go on. And as I can tell, I think we're coming up on klaxon. We are indeed, yep. So that should be a 10-second warning. The athletes now react to the go from this point. And they've missed it, like I said. So this often happens. There's a 10-second warning, and athletes need to be ready for that klaxon. And, well, it looks like Joe Litchfield was well in control and knows exactly what he's doing. I think a lot of athletes have clearly not got the memo before the event. Haven't done their homework, have they?
Certainly Scott Gibson under serious pressure here. I would think Scott Gibson is going to drop out. Conor Ferguson was fast asleep.
Excellent swim there from Oliver Morgan, who actually missed the start as well, but Joe will be happy with that, convincingly in the front. I think Scott just got left in the start there. There's a few people that got caught out there. Again, we saw it last night. We saw it in the skins yesterday, and the exact same thing has happened. So again, not sure what's happened. Is that communication breakdown? I'm really not sure, but I mean, the rules have been set for as long as this event has been running, so there's been no change, and it's always been the case. There'll be a 10-second whistle, and then there'll be the go. So you need to count in your head. It's exactly what I did. I heard the whistle, and I started to count down from 10. Then I knew roughly. You don't try and predict it, because you can get disqualified, but you have an idea. You're reacting. That's why this event is so testing, both physically, mentally, reaction times. Phenomenally difficult, but again, you really need to have your wits about you. It's again, all the females here, athletes, far more in control. So that is the 10-second klaxon. And here it will be a go only. So athletes need to get themselves ready.
Length.
Again.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a little off-putting that the officials are also coming up and checking that the feet are actually in position.
Yeah, it's a difficult one in backstroke, because it's when you pull yourself up, how long are you holding yourself in that position, but it's very clear that we'll be dropping lane 3 here, but the other drop is hard to tell at the moment. Well, it might actually be Cassie.
It is only one drop in this one, because we started with 7.
Oh, so we did, yeah, so we only dropped one.
We only dropped 1 in this one. We should
not. That's correct. It should have been 2, but
Jack's
because
absolutely
we started.
Right. Normally we would drop 2 and 2. Right. We'd normally go 2, 2, 1, 1, but because we only had 7 in the women's event, we dropped 2 initially. We would have dropped 2, but we only dropped 1. So for those of you tuning in wondering, are we talking a lot of rubbish? Sometimes we do.
I mean, yesterday it was a complete free-for-all. I think we had the final round twice for both men and women, so I think clearly there was confusion across the board. So we'll wait and see. Again, so there's 4 left in this race. So for the men, so that is correct. That is following the format that we expect to see, and it should be 1 dropped here, according to the guidelines. However, again, we'll have to see what happens, but at least 1 will be dropped. We know that for sure.
Yeah.
Again, I think Joe Litchfield looked in command there.
Looks like we're all ready to go.
Yeah, we've learned our mistakes.
Yeah, that's good. Good clean start from them all, and a cracking start from Litchfield.
Yeah, he's an ISL veteran at this stage, multidisciplinary athlete that can really turn his hand to a lot of events and making full use of those underwaters. He really is a great athlete, a skillful technician around the walls. But Oliver Morgan coming through now strongly, actually. He's going to be taking the touch. It looks like a very long loping stroke. Yeah. Excellent finish, he has indeed.
Martin Walton, I think, just missed. Yeah.
So
3 swimmers will remain together, 5, 6 and 7.
We're dropping 1 or 2.
And just the 1 dropped out in that one, Jack. So,
I believe we've had confirmation it should be 1 drop, so that'll be Walton. So the other 3 athletes should be through again. So now final 4 for the women. And on to the 3rd round. Again, the lactate will be significant at this stage. Looking at some of the athletes getting to the water from the last event across the other side of the pool. Martin's looking in a world of pain. Great effort all round. It's a brutal event. The whistle should be coming now. There it is. Again, I think a few of the athletes didn't pull themselves up early enough. Very early.
Dear.
Wow, that was interesting.
I think we'll find that Lottie Ban. Well, she was sort of ready to go, but I thought that she was going to just take this one easily, and maybe she is.
Yeah, well, Cassie's looking in a lot of control now. Clearly, the last round, Cassie was very much in control, knew what she was doing, and again, easing off a little bit there from Cassie Wild. She's comfortably in control, and I think the person that will be dropped very clearly is Lotta up in lane 7. Again, drama-free round, hopefully. So I can see 3 athletes for the men lining up.
So Litchfield, Calderon, Morgan, and 5, 6 and 7.
It's in the water a little bit early potentially, but the 10-second warning will be coming up soon in about 2 seconds. Or no, there we go. looked like Morgan judged that a little bit badly, came up and then dropped back down and back up again, but we're off. Joe Litchfield, excellent underwaters once again. And to his credit, Oliver Morgan, even though he went up and down twice off the start, is still in a great position to take that second place spot. Again, he's coming through that long stroke, very long arms, is a very different style, but again, it's holding him in a good position, and Joe's easing off slightly, and clearly through for Morgan.
Down to the final two, Calderon drops out. Cassie Wild in 4, Lauren Cox 5, Vicky Udan, Lend Frank from the Netherlands in lane 6.
Yeah, Cassie's got a great background in the 200 as well, so you quite often see that the 200 athletes holding their own here, right to the final stages in control, used to that longer event, the anaerobic sets. Again, the sprinters do expose themselves to it, but again, more of attrition. The 200 swimmers do tend to hold on.
Cassie Wild left a very strong start in this one. Already got a good metre or more advantage. So she's fine for the final, Jack.
Yeah, again, she's been looking in control the full time, and like I said, she's got that foundation from the 200 to very much take control of the event. But it's looking to be lane 6 there from, oh no,
Lauren Cox drops out.
It is, yeah, lane 6. Yeah. Through the athlete from Netherlands.
So, Joe Litchfield, Oliver Morgan. So the final two go in the two middle lanes. They move them, unless they've actually stayed in those lanes, they'll get moved into the centre lanes to finish the event.
Again,
so
Joe's been here several times at the ISL, these skins disciplines. He's well used to the format, and I think I know what he's doing here. The warning signal will be coming very soon now. Let's see if Owen can time his start a bit better this time. A long time Owen was up in the air there. So again, holding the clinch in the arms, and again Joe's taking advantage of those underwaters, but it's going to be very close. Owen's really picking up the rate compared to the previous races. He was much slower, much more controlled, and they're both really rating, powering into the wall now, motoring.
Well, this isn't done and dusted yet. Morgan's really fighting back to get on Thames here. Oh, this is going to be on the touch.
His big long arms.
Morgan's got this.
Oh, he has indeed. He pips it with a 26.94, and that's a very reasonable time to be finishing on as well.
Yeah.
Oh, he's buzzing with that. That's a fantastic race. Wow, what a swim. Wow. Tell you what, for someone, for the amount of times he misjudged the start. He was coming up early, going down, holding himself, additional fatigue, and again he held it together and held his own. Those big long arms coming in, great asset towards
just
the finish.
Just a perfect finish, wasn't it? Got that arm in the right position.
Full extension, yeah. Great finish. So again, even though Joe had him off the start in the underwaters, Owen just picked it up and let the stroke do the talking, but it's really close in the end, 600ths of a second, not much in it at all. And again, the athletes slowly waddling at the pool. Looked tough, doubled over, but back towards the other end with the final two female athletes. We have Cassie Wild, Liki Udo from up very early.
It's just that little extra harder dolphin kick from Cassie, and that makes all the difference. It's already a body length clear.
Really does. She's looked in control from the very first round, and a few tactical plays in the second and third, and now towards the fifth. Very comfortable, full control, long stroke. Cassie's known for her longer stroke, slower rate, and definitely for a skins event, having a longer longer stroke and a slow rate puts you in a great position to hold on and finish well. She looks quite in control there, not breathing too heavily. It seems quite a comfortable swim.
Indeed, 31.18.
Not quite as close as the last race, but there we are. We have the top two.
And we have more of that to come later on. So Cassie Wild and Owen Morgan, the two winners of their skins. And we move back to the other end of the pool. Junior final, B final and an A final. This is the junior final of the men's 100 metres breaststroke. In lane one we have Ryan Seu from Newcastle, two Donatus Agusius from Mount Kelly, three Isaac Hall, Borough of Stockton, four Mika van Vleut, Warner Bass, five Matthew Hand from Swim Ireland, six Arthur Llewellyn from the Borough of Stockton, seven Jake Combs from City of Glasgow, and eight Luke Hornsey from East Lothian. Good start in lane one from Ryan Zhu from Newcastle. Also well there in four, Mika van Vleut. Local swimmer from Warner Bass. He knows this pool like the back of his hand, so has that slight advantage perhaps. It's Mika van Vleut going well in this one, Jack. Looks like he's going to take the touch at halfway.
Yeah. Well, he's got a good heat swim from the morning. He's considerably further ahead on paper, but again, we can't tell all to play from the heats into the finals, and he's being held to a challenge from Matthew and Isaac, respectively.
Matthew Hand had a fantastic turn there. Took probably a half a metre advantage. And here comes Mika van Vleut coming back on Matthew Hand. This is another tight finish ahead of us. It's the Wonder swimmer just hanging on here. Mika van Vleut, Matthew Hand. It's another tight one. Mika van Vleut, Matthew Hand, and in lane six, Arthur Llewellyn. Again, it's getting that arm, those arms in the right position, stretching right to the wall.
Yeah, slightly quicker from his heat performance this morning, which is great to see. A fast heat and then a fast final, dropping slightly. Great, and a substantial drop from Matthew from heat to final. And again, lots of athletes breaking that 110 barrier. Then we progress on to the B final. Still a lot of juniors here. We've got three: Callum Melville, Elliot Woodburn, and Daniel Wasofi. Elliot had a great 200 yesterday, actually. Archie Goodburn, I think, is one to look for here. Maybe a bit disappointed with his heat. Lane 4. Yeah,
finished 9th and just missed out in the final. So in 1, Sam van der Stroom, Swim England. 2, Callum Melville from Nova Centurion. 3, Elliot Woodburn, Swim England. 4, Archie Goodburn, also swimming back in his home pool from Edinburgh University, ex-Wander swimmer. Bram Sven Lut from the Netherlands. Dave Bloomfield, Loughborough. And 7, Daniel Isoff from Israel, another junior, as you say. And 8 is Rory Dixon from Stirling University.
Yeah, Archie making that transition from Loughborough National Centre across to his hometown of Edinburgh for Warner. Well, Warner respectively, but Edinburgh University is swimming under at the moment. He's been really enjoying the programme. Let's see what he's got to give in this final tonight. Going out with intent and purpose. As is lane 3, Elliot Woodburn. Yep, right in contention. Like I said, it was an excellent 200 yesterday. Finished very strongly, so it'll be interesting to see what he's got in the second half.
Svetslut had a very good start, and he's also in the mix here in 4th position. Dave Bloomfield turning in 3rd, but at the moment, Archie Woodburn just has a slight advantage. We want to keep this stroke going.
Yeah, good powerful stroke there. He's looking in control. Bit of a challenge there from Elliot. A late push. Gonna be very close into the wall. He's got enough left in the tank. Let's see if we time the finish. Stretch out, full extension. Elliot's closing.
Good
really
burn,
stretch.
good burn, and I think it was 4.35. Yep. Well, that's a good burn.
1:03.5. I think he'll be pleased to get into the 63s again. Dropped from the 64.0 post this morning. I think Elliot will be taking the junior title on a 63.7, I believe. I can't see another junior to come. So yeah, I can confirm Elliot Woodburn has the junior title.
Indeed. So after our junior final, our B final, we move to the A final. I like them again. And we'll introduce the swimmers. Swimmer going in lane number 1 from Plymouth Leander is Adam Chillingworth. Just getting ready. Just getting the timings. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves here, Jack. These things run to clockwork, so we have Adam coming full side. In lane 2, representing Edinburgh University, Ross Young. In lane 3, representing City of Glasgow, you wouldn't have said that a few years ago, Craig Benson. In 4, representing Loughborough, James Olby. In lane 5, representing Loughborough, Greg Butler. In lane 6, representing Loughborough, is David Murphy. In lane 7, representing Swim Ireland, Usain Cook. And in lane 8, representing the Netherlands, Iva Cruz. This is the final of the 100 metres breaststroke.
Yeah, we had an excellent 200 yesterday. Great battle between Greg Butler and PT respectively. PT, I should say, Wilby. Getting ahead of myself there. PT was involved in the event and withdrew, but Wilby was 1 minute point 62 at McCulloch a few weeks ago, and Greg Butler 1:01.11 in Marseille. So again, it's going to be quite an interesting race. They'll likely come from the centre lanes. Don't discredit Yushin. He's posted a 62 low recently and a big personal best time from Ross Young to get into this final. So again, it's likely going to come from the middle lanes. And again, Craig Benson, sprint specialist. He's been multiple Olympic teams for both the 100 and the 200 respectively, qualifying, and again is an excellent 50-metre specialist at the moment, focusing in on that for Birmingham qualification. But again, he's got an excellent pedigree in the 100. I think it will likely be Wilby and Butler with the second half coming into play from their 200 backgrounds.
And a very strong start in lane 6. Murphy. And will be now coming through in 4. Just to take it up. Over in 6. Murphy still there. Butler between them. Benson and that white cap in lane number 3. It will be at the moment. He has half a metre advantage, 28.06. It's half a second from Butler and Murphy. Usain Cook in 4th.
Yeah, and an excellent turn there from Butler, and he's trying to make a bit of a close here. His rates increased significantly. He did this in the 200 yesterday as well. He really closed on that last 50, so we'll see what he's got left in the tank. Again, the timing is really going to come down to the wire here. Wilby's kicking in again, so is Butler. It's going to be an extremely close finish. Who's going to get the reach? Who's going to get the stretch? Wilby Butler. Yep. Coming from Wilby, a slight extra stroke. Just, he
Butler
does indeed.
And Usain Cook gets 3rd.
Great swim from Yushin to get that 3rd place.
Yep.
Yeah, getting very close to that 59, sub 60 barrier. Yeah, lots of big drops there. I think Yushin will be happy. Edinburgh University summer. He's been doing very well in his first year in the programme. Excellent short course season, translating that into the long course. Again, 200 more the focus, but it's great to see some Edinburgh, some Scots challenging the might of the British contingent that are up here, as well as the other internationals. Yushin under the banner of Swim Ireland, I should also point out. So again, great to see a lot of representation from them. Now we move on to women's 100-metre butterfly, heat 1, junior final.
So a little change. We have one of the reserves coming in to lane 5. Lane 1 we have Heidi Wren from the City of Glasgow. 2, Lucy Fox swimming. Lane 3, Amadal from Plymouth Leander. Sharon in lane 4 with Sharon Stetsam from Israel. Reserve Lacey Roberts, Plymouth Leander, goes in 5. In 6, Raka Ophir from Israel. 7, Laura Dickinson from Mount Kelly. And in 8, Lisa Stoddart from East Lothian.
Got one 15-year-old in this event in lane 1. Very young age, throwing down with the 17-year-olds predominantly in this field, but it's an excellent start from lane number 3 from Alma, Plymouth Leander. Take it out to the first 15, really powering through. Again, Plymouth Leander, well known for their sprint programme. Lots of athletes, a significant contingent. And then again, up in the top of the pool from lane number 7. Yeah,
Laura Dixon, she had a good start as well there, coming out the blocks, Jack.
Did indeed.
Amadal still with a slight advantage. Sharon Switzman coming through.
Sharon closing, yeah, she's just closing in. Second half much stronger than the sprint specialist in that first 50. Very close into the wall, looking like a bit of a blanket finish here.
Looks like Sharon has got this one. Lane 4 from 2 and 6, I think.
Very
it's
close.
The finish order.
Was indeed. Lucy Fox coming through very strongly at the end. 1100ths took it in the end. Sharon with a 103 dead, and Lucy Fox 63.11. Closely followed by a 63.43 from Raka Ophir from Israel.
Sharon Steeman taking that. Lucy Fox 1100s back, and another Israeli, Raka Ophir 103.43. Takes third.
On to the B final. This event we have Holly Widows in lane 1, junior. In this event we have Kate Mills in lane 2.
Just the one junior in this one.
Waiting for confirmation here and just checking that there's not been a disqualification. Can sometimes happen as a late entry when if one of the marshals or technical officials has picked up on something. Hopefully not. We'll wait and see for a final. Let's say official on the board, so hopefully that's the event completed. We're waiting to find out.
Yeah, sometimes the delay could just be that they're waiting on a time, confirming a time, perhaps a slightly faster time.
So as I said, Holly Widows in lane number 1, Kate Mills in lane 2, May Bradbury in lane 3 from Swimming England, Kira Sloshin from Edinburgh University in lane 4, Jessica Calderbank from City of Manchester, Macy Elliott from Loughborough University, Kira Morris from Cardiff, and Eleanor Morgan from Stirling University to round out the field. Again, you've got a strong 200-metre butterfly from Kira Sloshin in lane number 4. Like to have a very strong second half, very experienced athlete again to her side from Jessica Calderbank from City of Manchester Aquatics, but it's very close in this first length, maybe coming up from lane 7 actually, from Kira Morris going out with a good start.
Yeah, Kira Slossin will want to win this one, having not qualified for the A final.
Kira does get the hand on the wall for the first 50. Getting down there, I think she'll be hopefully in a good position coming through with a 200 background, but it is lane 5 as well. From
just a golden back, coming through.
She is doing well. Kicking in the afterburners now. It's going to be a close one.
Calderbank looks as though she has this one in the bag now, inside the final 15. Calderbank certainly is going to take this one. Very close, lane 6 and 7. Maisie Elliott, Kira Morris. That was a little bit of a surprise in that one there, Jack.
Yeah, marginally. I mean, Kira Sloshin did, it was a 61.2 this morning, 61.6 there. She'll be maybe a little bit disappointed, but again, I think it was, the pressure of the finals and whatnot can get to you. It's a high intense environment, and she might have been going quite fast in the morning, but again, it was a decent swim to back up there, and some of the other athletes dropping significantly as well. So good race across the board, and well done to Jessica for taking that one. Now we move on to the A final, the senior event. No juniors here.
Yeah. Holly Widows did a 102.71, the junior, in that last one. And we move on to the A final. It's Sophie Freeman from Plymouth Leander. In lane 2, representing Aberdeen Performance, Yasmin Perry. In 3, representing Stirling University, Kiana McInnes. And lane 4, representing Loughborough, Louise Hansen. In lane 5, representing Edinburgh University, Tane Bruce. In lane 6, representing South Ayrshire, Lucy Grieve. In lane 7, representing Derventio, Georgina Pryor. And in lane 8, representing Math National Centre, is Emily Large. And when I look at Lucy Grieve coming on, I still think she's a junior. I can't believe that she's 18.
Yeah, well, time's flown. She's moved up the ranks.
Yeah.
She's doing well. She's getting herself in. More of a short course swimmer, but she's doing well to get that transition into the long course disciplines. Tane doing a very good heat swim, dipping into the 59s. Louise Hansen, again on paper, is a 56 and won multiple medals and titles across different events. 100 backstroke world champion short course, believe it or not. So those dolphin kicks come into play. But again, it was good swims from Kiana and Co this morning. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. It'll be an excellent race.
Good start in lane 4, Louise Hansen. Already opened up maybe a good half-metre advantage. Almost a good start, Georgina Pryor in 7. But, Hansen got off to a good strong start here.
Yeah, it's maybe going to be Hansen, McInnes, Bruce potentially at the wall, or Hansen, Bruce coming up in lane 7 as well. We've got George Pryor. It is a 1, 2, 3 for Hansen, McInnes and Bruce respectively. So a good first 50 there across for the three of them. Put themselves in good contention. Challenge coming up there from lane 7. Again, Tane's doing well there in the middle lane if she can hold on to the feet of Hansen. Hansen put in a stellar performance this morning with a 58. I think the rest of the athletes will be aware of that, trying to hold on as best they can. Kick in as much as possible. Try and get the head down, time the finish here.
Tane Bruce
Hansen
looks good to get second though. Oh, it's just on the touch.
Close.
Yeah, I thought that Tane led, but yeah. Just Kiana McInnes got those arms over, spot on, perfect to just that second place.
Yeah, Kiana creeped over. She looked like she was behind there until about the last 10 metres, and again she was kind of hooking onto the lane line. I thought she might have misjudged it, but no, it was on the touch there. It was just so marginal, 100th, but it's great position for the women's 4x100 individual medley team to have Kiana and Tane getting back into those 59 mids before the trials event in a month's time. So again, they'll both be unrested at this point in the heavy training, so it's great to see them challenging that 59 well into the 59s and maybe even 58s to come. Hopefully that'd be a great thing to see for trials. But yeah, and a great swim for Hansen. I think she'll have again be in a phase in her training where she'll be expecting a strong performance, but not a personal best time. So yeah, and can't discount Lucy Grieve there. I think she dropped a little bit again. That was at 60.4, I believe. Yeah. So I think she'll be happy with that. Again, more of a 50 specialist, but putting in the work there. But yeah, it's fine margins, 100th of a second for second and third respectively there. Onto the 200 metre butterfly discipline. The junior final for men. We have Isaac Buchan from Stockton in lane 1, Callum Rose from Warner Baths in lane 2, Daniel Dravkov from Israel, Daniel Ichel from Israel, James Hart from Swim England, Tom Robertson from Aberdeen Dolphins, Scott Fleming from East Kilbride, and Daniel Kravisky from Israel. A lot of Israel international contingent here, great to see. Great experience for the British juniors to be again, racing against people they're probably not had the opportunity to race before, and again, there's more unpredictability here. You don't know where people are in training, and it's lane 5. It's really leading it out from James Hart from Swim England, so he's setting the tone for the rest of the field. Again, going out with real purpose for a 200-meter butterfly. It's we'll see how he's going towards the end. This might be wishful thinking potentially. I hope he proves us wrong, but again, there's different tactics to this race. His rate is awfully high for a 200-meter butterfly, but again, we might be seeing something special. We'll wait and see how this pans out.
Yeah, I think this afternoon, I think it was one of the lads from Dundee City, it might have been Cameron Travis, went out very strong in the first 100 and literally died. So it's all about getting the timing right. But,
James Guy quite often employs this tactic. We'll see it later. He goes out with absolute purpose, and it does work for him quite often. He did it in Ireland a few weeks ago, but yeah, James is trying to follow suit respectively. He's still holding on. Bit of a challenge coming across from lane 3 from Daniel Dravakov of Israel. Again, it's still all James Hart at the moment. He's holding on to that very powerful high rate, and fair play to him. He's done a great job so far. Straight up, very few kicks off the wall. Shoulders will be burning at this point, but he's still looking powerful. He's looking in control. We'll see how it goes. And again, there's a late challenge coming from lane 3 and lane 4 respectively from the two Daniels of Israel. Training partners more than likely, countrymen. Again, James went out with such purpose. They're tightening up slightly towards the end now. James is going to just hold off the challenge from the Israelis. Just gets it.
Yeah, he did.
2:05, and again, well done. It was a good swim. He's dropped 3 seconds nearly from his performance this morning. And again, that's a significant drop from the Israeli contingent. Again, they're dropping from their morning performances for the 1, 2, 3 respectively. Again, it's another very difficult event to time. If you fatigue and die, as we like to say in the sport, when you've mistimed your pacing, you're really found wanting in a 200-meter butterfly. And the last length in particular, as we quite often see, always makes for an entertaining finish. Now we move on to the B final. We have 3 juniors left here. 4 juniors, I should say.
Yeah, 4 juniors. Yep. So in lane 1, Edward Nick from Stirling University. 2 is Michael Komaseski from Hatfield. 3, Finn McGeever from Ireland. 4, you have Halag from Israel. 5, Rubens Robotham Keating from Swim England. 6, Josh Garment from England. 7, Alexandro Villajos Prades from Spain. And 8, Ricardo Lucarelli from Mount Kelly. Juniors in lanes 2, 4, 5 and 8. I think it's somewhere around the 2:09 mark was the fastest time. That was Tom Robertson in that previous heat.
I've actually seen Ruben in the pool already today in the 400 medley, so that's a very difficult double to follow through, but we'll see. He's had enough time to recover, move on, but the early challenge or the early speed is coming from lane 2 for Michael Kalawinski. It's looking to be Michael from Hatfield. It is indeed in a 26.5, 0.7 advantage, really going out strongly there, closely followed by Finn McGeever. He's had a very good turn actually there. Again up in lane 6 and 7, and Josh and Alejandro had good turns, utilising the walls effectively. The main leaders still coming from closest lanes to ourselves. See how it goes into the wall. Michael Finn's going to be very close on the touch. Like Michael's just going to get it. He does.
Yes, he does.
And let's see how it goes. It's still all to play for at the halfway point. Close slightly there from Finn McGeever.
2 boys in the middle lanes. The races so far, but maybe still saving themselves a wee bit to make up.
Yeah, well, Michael went out with a lot of speed initially. He might be paying for it slightly now. Finn's pacing his race a bit more effectively for the 200 discipline.
Michael Konashevsky still going pretty strongly. Now has an advantage of well over a second. he still looks pretty strong coming down the final stretch.
Yeah, I mean, Finn McGeever's timed this well. He was right in contention there in the first 100 and really turned on the afterburners towards the wall here. It's looking very strong, well in control. Rates increasing actually as we come into the wall, so he's paced it very well indeed. Let's see your pace increase towards the end of a 200-metre butterfly. So he's done a very good job. Full stroke finish.
Yeah, the Zealand 4 is going to take the junior title, and in lane 2, just touched out.
Yeah, Yava from Israel came through really strongly in that last 50. It was
204.40 will take the junior title. 201.98 for McGeever. No juniors in the A final to follow with.
Here we go, the
let's down
final
again. And we'll be welcoming the 8 athletes. It's James Woodburn getting ready to come poolside. So here's our athletes for our 100 or 200 metres butterfly final. In lane 1 from Hatfield, James Woodward. In lane 2 from Plymouth Leander, Tom Bealey. In lane 3 from the Bath National Centre is James Guy. In lane 4 from Spain, Miguel Martinez Noah. In lane 5 from Loughborough, Andreas Valzalis. In lane 6 from Bath National Centre is Edward Mildred. In lane 7 from Spain, Abidel Gonzalez Alvarez. And in lane 8 from Loughborough University, Jacob Goodman. Interesting final ahead of us.
So indeed, we saw the Zayos yesterday in the 200 medley. A really good job closing on Duncan, actually. It was a really exciting finish on that last 50, so he's clearly got the endurance about him at the moment. Again, used to seeing James Guy going out with conviction and purpose, as we often do in the way he approaches his races. At McCulloch most recently, went out on a blistering pace. He split a 53 in the first 100. Proceeded to come home in a bit of pain. We'll see how he approaches the race this time round. One to watch in lane 3, and Spanish contingent in lane 4 from Andres. Edward Mildred, more known for his freestyle, but again mixing it up in the 200 butterfly event. I think the main challenge is going to be coming from James Guy and Miguel and Andres respectively in the centre lanes. So I expect to see James Guy really going for it here from the get-go. With the Spaniards swam it this morning as well, likewise.
Already Guy's gone out strongly. Just about a body length clear after the 50. 25.72.
He got caught on the wall a little bit there, got a little bit stuck, but he still managed to make the most of it. Andre made Miguel, I should say, had a very good turn, really utilised the in and out and popped off the wall. So it's going to be a close race coming in for the halfway point. Don't discount Zayas from Loughborough. And he closed very strongly in the 200 medley yesterday, so he's got that back end about him.
Guys, just about a second behind Guy in third place.
Very good underwater
and
there from Zayos.
That was certainly an excellent turn from Vazios. 3 of them almost together. Well, it's really beginning to develop as we reach the final turn. The Greek Vazios.
Britain, Spain and Greece, here we go.
Serious, another cracking turn from him, and Guy's got his work cut out here down the final stretch.
as expected, Vizayos really putting in the afterburners here, like we saw him do yesterday. Paces the race so well, and he's really motoring through now. Guy's looking a little bit tight, but Guy's rate is also increasing.
Oh,
this is very close between Vizayos and Guy, respectively. Who's got it in the touch? Who's going to get the half stroke, the full stroke? Looking like Vizayos coming into the wall. It's going to be very close.
Well, it's Vizayos who's got this from Guy.
More of a margin than it looked from the naked eye, but
half a sec. 58.45, 158.98 for Guy. You know, that second half was beautifully swam.
Yeah, I mean,
all the extra work off that wall made such a difference there.
Yeah, well, we saw Vizayos do it yesterday. He came back so strongly in the freestyle leg, but very far off the wall, and again, clearly he's got a solid foundation about him. He's an excellent technician around the walls. Excellent short course, represents at the International Swimming League each year. Swimming for Loughborough at the moment, but James paced his race much better than I saw him the other week in Ireland. He finished a bit stronger, whereas in Ireland he absolutely went out like a missile and came home in a body bag, but again, very close. Now again, both athletes moving it on significantly from heats to finals. The Spaniard taking the third. Great double for him as well. Now we move on to the women's 400-metre individual medley. Again, we have 3 finals here from the junior B and A respectively. In lane 1 for the junior final, Rebecca Frail from Swim Ireland, Fila from the Netherlands, Ruby Griffiths from Mount Kelly, Karen Azabrush from Israel, Susie McNair from First, Aviva Holinsky from Plymouth Leander, Kira Atkin from Swim Ireland, and Amy McLeod from City of Glasgow rounding out the field. Very big start there from Kira from Swim Ireland. Fila, I should say, sorry, lane number 2. Quite far off the walls, but it is coming from the middle lanes. Again, we saw the 400 medley earlier for the men's. It's a long event, needs to be very tactical. We'll see the placing chop and change significantly throughout the race. Again, we would like to see some sort of building through each stroke respectively if possible, and it's a great way to approach this race, keeping in control. And again, you'll see each discipline, or each athlete's discipline strength coming through respectively, and it's what makes the IM, the individual medley event, so exciting. Again, it's coming from the middle lanes so far, so on paper as we would expect.
And Susie McNair, somewhere in lane 5. I see a fair bit of her over the last 6 months since we've been back in the pool, since I've been over at Toll Cost quite a lot. I know she's only turned pretty close 4th, but her backstroke's pretty effective. So I expect her to try and get ahead of the field if she can. Going pretty well in lane 3, Ruby Griffiths. Since in lane 6 is Viva Holinsky. Those 3 just about together. So coming to the first 50 of the backstroke section. Ruby Griffiths, 39.68, Susie McNair 39.41, just a little bit quicker. That nice turn from Ruby just kept that advantage going. Susie McNair in 2nd, 3rd place Aviva Holinsky. Going nicely in lane 1 is Rebecca Frail from Swim Ireland. Is positioned if she can pull something out on the breaststroke section. And Karen Azabruch from Israel in lane 4 rather, also well there. Susie McNair, that backstroke just giving her a slight edge, but this is where it matters on the breaststroke. Ruby Griffiths getting that nice long glide, that long stroke. Susie McNair doing well to stick with her. The swimmer in lane 4, Karen Azabruch from Israel. making significant ground. She's coming through extremely strongly now. So those 4 girls in the lanes 3, 4, 5 and 6 all tightly bunched. It's Karen Asebrook almost level, and out the turn. That momentum just brings her level with Susie McNair. Coming through extremely strongly in lane 2 is Fia. Well, the Dutch girl, Fia Nudas here, coming through extremely strongly, along with Israeli Karen Asebrook. Susie McNair just dropped back into 3rd. Well, this has been one swim and a half, 40-62. And the Dutch girl in 2 has really nailed this one. From 6th place to 1st place on that breaststroke section. Has had a cracking swim here. 2nd place at the moment, Karen Asebrook, with Susie McNair in 3rd. Well, she's beginning to tie up a little bit here, our leader. It's all to play for down the final 50. And good momentum off the wall, she needed that. Fiona Nuda career. And I think she's got the bit between her teeth again here, Jack. Just beginning to pull away again. Yeah, inside the final 25.
Turn on the motors, the 1, 2, 3 is emerging now. Fila's taken a great swim. She had a great start as well, I thought, and kind of eased off a little bit, but really utilised that breaststroke leg. But an late challenge coming in from Karen in lane 4.
I think Karen's going to get this.
Oh, she is.
Yeah, she did. Karen Asebrook.
Again,
Fiona was just dying at the end.
Yeah, powerful last 50 there from.
What a cracking swim. It just shows you just keep the head down. What that final 15 metres, and it paid dividends for Karen at the end. Snatched that at the death.
Yeah, that was one of the Israeli swimmers. Great to see some of the internationals getting themselves in contention. Again, throwing down the gauntlet for the juniors to come. We have. Oh, actually, we've got one in the A final, I believe.
We have one in the A final as well, yeah.
Again, I think that's likely going to go to Lara based off her heat swim, as well as the 400 freestyle that she produced yesterday as well. So, but again, that was a good round off, and lots of swimmers dropping from their morning performances. 400 medley is a hard event to double up in, especially these younger athletes that will likely be pushing right to the edge in the morning to try and secure competitive final placings, bearing in mind the afternoon swimmers again will be pushing for those outside spots in the junior and the B finals. So again, putting together 2 very strong 400 medleys. Great to see. On to the B final.
And 1 Holly McGill, Martha Midlothian. 2 Orla Adams, Aberdeen Performance. 3 Schlossen from Swim England. 4 Julia Knox, Swim Ireland. 5 Ailsa MacDonald, Edinburgh University. 6 Grace Davidson, Swim Ireland. 7 Livia Kingsland, Nova Centurion. And 8 Evie Delay, Swim England. Nice strong start in lane number 4, Julia Knox, Swim Ireland.
Closely followed by Ailsa and Grace. Again, the challenge coming from 3, Schlossen. Again, it's the first 50 in this event really doesn't tell us much when we come down to the wire and the final 15 of the freestyle. It's just setting the tone for what is to come. We'll likely see like we say before, the stronger events from each athlete being capitalised on. Butterfly is always a tricky one, because if you put all your eggs in the butterfly basket, you could be in a world of pain come the freestyle leg. So again, the butterfly, you need to be as efficient as possible, technically astute, have that in the back of your mind to just kind of get through to the halfway point. Really turn on the motors and the backstroke leg if possible, depending on your strengths. Coming into that first touch is Leah Schlossen, followed by Ailsa MacDonald from Edinburgh and Julia Knox from Swim Ireland.
For Holly McGill in lane 1, coming through strongly backstroke. Certainly we have best of the 4 disciplines here.
Yeah, Holly had some excellent swims at the David McCulloch meet recently. The 200 backstrokes, some personal best times, and again, definitely one to look for here. And it looks like she's actually potentially in the lead now. It's Holly McGill, if not in the lead, very close to. Yep, definitely is in the lead. Taking a huge margin actually out of that first 50, about near 2.5 seconds from the rest of the field.
And she really needs to build on this down this second 50 to give her an outside chance of winning this. Breaststroke not Holly's forte. She has to work at it in the IM, which a lot of the swimmers, that's maybe their worst section of the 4 strokes.
Yeah, Ailsa McDonald, a good breaststroker from Edinburgh. Julia Knox as well. So again, the middle lanes falling back slightly, and a good challenge up in lane 8 from Evie Dilly, which actually in second place. Again, the backstrokers coming through strongly there, but now it really is all to play for in the breaststroke leg. You can see a huge change here. But Holly's in a great position. She's put in a huge amount of work there. 35.7 negative split that 100 wonderfully to put herself in a great race position for this breaststroke leg. Just doing what she can to hold off the middle lanes. Lane 3 coming through now, Leah Schlossen. Likewise as Ailsa McDonald and Julia Knox in the middle lanes. I think it might slightly be going to Leah Schlossen now. Holly falling off slightly.
Paul McGill just drops into second place. Leah Schlossen, Ailsa McDonald trying to make a move to get back in the mix here. 2.5 seconds back in third place.
Yeah, and Ailsa McDonald, her strongest leg is the breaststroke, and you can see that now coming through. Again, we've got Leah Schlossen putting in a really good effort, a technically efficient breaststroke there. Good reach, good kick and power from the legs, timing's on point. Wide stroke, a bit more of a traditional stroke compared to some of the narrower breaststroke styles now, but it's doing the work, doing the job. Again, she's going to have a bit of body length into the freestyle leg. She's going to put her in a very strong position.
Certainly at this stage, Leah Schlossen turning, and I don't really think that she's under any real danger here. Ailsa McDonald not renowned for finishing strongly in freestyle. You see her breaststroke certainly the best of the 4 disciplines.
Yeah, we can see Julia Knox motoring through in the middle lane, especially lane 4. Freestyle leg, she's got a solid 6 to 8 beat kick there, really going to the legs. Ailsa McDonald's going to have her work cut out in this second 50. She's breathing to her left, she should be breathing towards Julia on the way back, but they turn very even for that second and third place. First position I think is all tied up at this point, but it's going to be between Julia and Ailsa for that second, third respectively. And again, I think it is Julia pulling away now, clearly holding a lot in. Late challenge from Ailsa going to the legs a bit, but I think the work is done there for Julia Knox, and it's looking like the 1, 2, 3 will be Leah, Julia and Ailsa respectively. And a late challenge up in
far
lane.
Side, Evie Dilly, I think will get third here.
She is. That was a great finish.
It's going to be lane 8 who takes third place. Evie Dilly did sneak in there just under the 5-minute mark.
Oh. Again, I don't think Ailsa would have been aware of that at all. And again, great job from Evie there, pushing on and coming flying back in that second 50. Again, we're seeing a lot of the athletes taking into account that negative split, that opportunity to approach each stroke and build through and finish as strong as possible, and well, Evie epitomised that there.
So the fast times in that one, only the one swimmer under the 5-minute mark from the heats this morning, but 3 of them under the 5 minutes in that one. So we move on to our A final for the women's 400 metres individual medley. In lane 1, representing Aberdeen Performance, Yvonne Brown. In 2, representing Swim England, Beatrice Farley. In lane 3, representing City of Glasgow, Katie Shanahan. In lane 4, representing Nova Centurion, Freya Colbert. In lane 5, representing Loughborough, is Lily Booker. In lane 6, the remaining juniors to swim, representing Swimming England, Lara Thompson. In lane 7, representing the Netherlands is Lottie Hosbach. And in lane 8, representing Spain, Paula Just Sanchez. This is the women's 400 metres individual medley final.
I think one to watch here is Katie Shanahan, based off her performance from McCulloch a few weeks back with a 4:46.85 from that competition. So that would put her in the centre lane if she'd done that in the morning. But it was a great heat swim from Freya Colbert. Again, if she got more to give, very dominating performance actually. A few of these athletes doubling up from the 400 freestyle yesterday. So again, we know different strategies. They've got the back end, they've got the pacing, but Shanahan really is the emerging star within the individual medley, filling the lofty shoes that are Hannah Miley from the Scottish medley swimmers.
Yeah, again, and also Amy Wilmot dropping out as well from a UK perspective.
Yeah, very much so. So shoes to fill all round, and Freya Colbert coming into her own again, younger athlete, same age as Katie at 18 years of age. Again, just exiting the junior ranks into the seniors.
About 6 seconds difference from the heats, but Katie Shannon was hardly doing anything in the first couple of hundred metres.
Again, you see the athletes in this, the more capable athletes that know they have a bit more to give in the evenings, being a bit more tactical, and we can see here early doors that we've got Katie really going for it in that first 50.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, very interesting that she's gone out very strongly on her butterfly, which really is probably the weakest of the 4 disciplines, and it's still strong given that it's the weakest. And she's a wonderful backstroke that she has to follow this with.
Yeah, she had a very good 200 backstroke in McCulloch as well 2 weekends ago. So again, she's going to put herself in a great position. Yes, she's putting in too much too early, but she's clearly going out with conviction. She's setting herself up. She's saying to the rest of them, here we go, you know I'm a strong backstroker and this is the pace we're setting. But of course lane 4 and 5 with Freya and Lily are well in contention, and the outside lanes again we've got Lottie and Paula, which may well take the second. It is Paula from lane 8, closely followed by Freya Colbert.
The wonderful thing about this live stream, Jack, is you can go back and review it. So if you want to watch what Katie Shanahan did this morning, different tactics this evening, you can just see how some of these swimmers approach the races, and we have a fascinating second half to follow. Katie Shanahan and Freya Colbert, 1-2. Lily Booker in lane 5, probably in 4th place at the moment. Lottie Hosper in 7, turning in 3rd.
Yeah, it was a good leg there from Freya as well, good backstroker, and Katie under the tenure of Danielle Bryson from City of Glasgow and Ian Wright as coaches. I think it's Danielle predominantly with a bit of a contact from Ian, but they'll be well in control of the race strategy, the plan, the approach. Katie will have had that chat with the coaching staff before the event, the heat into the finals, be well aware of what the game plan is. But Freya's putting in a great effort here, and Katie's been pushed right into the backstroke leg, but interestingly she wasn't really going to her legs there, so again maybe a tactical decision to save them for the back half of the race, knowing that the backstroke is a stronger leg for her. Be a lot more efficient in the backstroke leg, reserve that energy. Like we said, it's a war of attrition in this event, to be holding on as much as you can and try and build through each phase. Again, we keep saying that, but for the younger athletes, I mean, case in point, it is very much the way to approach this event.
Both of them that little bit faster in that second 50 of backstroke. At the moment, Katie Shannon with about a body length advantage. It's beginning to close a little bit here. Katie Shannon 2:56.45, 2:57.45, and Freya Colbert taking just over a second off the lead.
Yeah, well, on paper it's going to be very close because Freya's got a arguably marginally better freestyle, so I think Katie's going to be needing this advantage coming into the final section of the breaststroke, and Freya's closing slightly now. I think the 3rd place still got Lily Booker, who's holding her 3rd place position well. Again, if she has a strong enough freestyle, she can bring herself back into contention here. Going to be neck for neck into the wall between Freya and Katie respectively. Freya just taking the touch,
I think. By,
very strong leg there, 41.41, 1.25 second difference there from Freya on that second 50. They're breathing away from each other at the moment, so likely they'll be breathing towards each other on the way back, but Freya's putting in a solid effort. She put in a fantastic heat swim and she's backing it up here in the evening so far, but we've got final 50 to go. We'll see who's got the most left, who wants it more, who wants this title, and so far Freya's pulling away slightly now.
A little bit extra momentum off the wall from Freya. Gained well over a second now, and this looks cut and dry. Freya Colbert has got 2 or 3 metres advantage. Katie Shanahan well clear in second, and it looks like Lily Booker will have to settle for third. That's a very, very good swim from Freya.
Very strong performance indeed. 4:43.2. It's an excellent drop from this morning swim. She looks delighted with that.
Yeah.
May well be a personal best time. The 4:43 is getting right down there with a very competitive performance for the senior ranks, and she's 18 years of age. So that's a great performance there from Freya. Again, she put in the work in the morning. 4:47.9, arguably harder than she needed to work for the morning swim based off the rest of the field, but she dropped it significantly, and to Katie's credit, she's only marginally outside the performance she put in a few weeks past. So again, it was a good first-second battle there. Maybe Katie went out a little bit too hard in the butterfly, I think.
Might have been.
The legs looked a bit sore there on the last 50 of the freestyle, tightening up a bit. Again, it's tactical decisions, the margins, the ifs, buts, the hindsight, you know, it's a learning process. As long as the athletes take away something from each approach, that's the most important thing, and remember what went right and what went wrong, more importantly. Now we head to the opposite end of the pool for more skins. Fast and Furious 50 freestyle. Blink and you'll miss it.
Yeah. This is the junior final, so we swim this one as normal. Connor Fitzgerald, Swim Ireland in 1. Rudy McKinnon, City Glasgow 2. Daniel Izevov from Israel in 3. Alex Painter, Millfield School in 4. Calvin Fry swimming on 5. Evan Bailey, Swimmer Ireland 6. Aidan Simmons-Brown, Plymouth Thunder in 8. Ignacio Perez Tudela, Spain in 8. That's splash and dash indeed. Let's pick anyone inside the final 5. It's lane 5 with advantage, Calvin Fry. And Fry just looks as though he's going to hold on from 4 and 2. Calvin Fry, Alex Painter, Rudy McKinnon, 23-11, 23-21. And Rudy McKinnon
very close there to the elusive sub-23 barrier. It's a big barrier for Calvin Fry. Again, a junior going 23-1. It's great to see. Good prospect in what is a very senior-based event. Again, you see a lot of the top freestylers, male freestylers in the world, well into their 20s and 30s. Ben Proud, for example, 27. So again, maturity at this age is great to see for future prospects and British sprint. Now we move on to the women's 50-metre breaststroke.
In 1,
junior final.
In 1, Lucy Buckingham. 2, Ellie McCartney. 3, Ciara Davison. 4, Beth Young. 5, Kirsten Powell. 6, Ellie Kensington. 7, Ava Jones. And 8, Catriona Stewart. Catriona Stewart just scraped in this morning or this afternoon to get into this final.
Weston Barton Summer, good performance to get her hand in the door, but we've got Beth and Kirsten in the middle of the pool. Likely coming in for a challenge, but it's looking fairly even at this stage.
Beth Young perhaps just shades it.
Yeah.
Ellie Kensington, Kirsten Powell.
Good challenge from Ellie McCartney as well out in lane 2, but it's looking to be the middle lanes. Beth going to take it, maybe lane 6 for second.
Lane 2-6. 4-2-6. I thought it came Beth, Ellie, and well, the 2 Ellies.
Yeah, 4-2-6 I think is right. We're waiting for the confirmation. Again, always a little bit ominous when we don't get initial confirmation. There's always a bit of a worry of a disqualification, but we'll wait and see. Hopefully, we've not had one yet, but again, might just be a technical issue.
The winner, Beth Young. There we have it.
And it is Beth Young was disqualified. She was a race winner and she was disqualified. We're not sure what for, but
Ellie Kennington and Ellie McCartney second and third. Kristen Powell from lane 5 is promoted to third place. So, as you say, we don't know what that was for. It could have been the start, it could have been the finish, it could have been something in between.
Yeah, well, it's more than likely it is the start to the sprint
probably
events.
the start.
Yeah. Here we go. I'm really looking forward to this event this evening.
So on to our final. Martin Batari from Israel goes in 1. In 2, representing the Bath National Centre, Matthew Richard. In lane 3, representing Edinburgh University, David Cumberledge. In lane 4, representing University of Bath, is Bound Proud. In lane 5, representing Winchester, Lewis Burris. In lane 6, representing Loughborough, is Jacob Whittle. A couple of juniors in this one. In lane 7, having qualified from this afternoon, Tom Dean from Bath National Centre. And in lane 8, representing the Netherlands, is Tim Cortanza. This is the ladies. In lane 1, representing Edinburgh University, Anna Morgan. In lane 2, also from Edinburgh University, Katie Goodburn. In lane 3, from Loughborough, Sarah Vasey. In lane 4, representing Derventio, Imogen Clark. In lane 5, from Edinburgh University, it's Cara Hanlon. In lane 6, from the Isle of Man, Laura Kinley. In lane 7, from Hatfield, Ashley Ransom. And lastly, in lane 8, from Mount Kelly, Millie Rigout.
An excellent heat swim from Ben and Lewis Burris respectively. Ben with a electric first 50 metres as we normally see, and Lewis Burris really turning on the gas from about halfway through the race. It was quite bizarre the way he approached the race. So if he gets a start together for this, I think we might be in for quite a race between Ben and Lewis respectively. Got Ben one of the fastest ever in a textile suit in 21.1. Lewis Burris with a 21.75 from a meet out in America in December recently. Don't discredit David Cumberledge, a well-experienced veteran in this event.
So the swimmers and 2 drop out.
Oh, it's an electric start from all there, as you would like to see, and it's going to be a fantastic race between Ben and Lewis. Likely Ben coming through in the first 25 metres, and Lewis is really going to push him right into the line. Lewis finished on a phenomenal pace and rate in the last 15. Stroke for stroke into the wall. Who wants it more? Who's got the reach? Who's got the finish? It's going to be just Ben in the touch, and it is 21.72 and a 21.84. New meet record for Ben Proud. Phenomenal race. That was an electric finish, and yeah, it was great to see. Lewis went out with a lot more purpose in that first 15 metres than he did this morning, and they both look happy with that. I think Ben will be well pleased to drop down into the competitive world ranking of a 21.72. It's getting up there for this time of year. Again, both of them likely a bit of a rest into this, not a full taper as we like to say, or a full rest, but that was a fantastic start to the skins event, and will likely drop 2 plus Ben, I would more than imagine, because he quite often only does 1. Again, he might prove me wrong here, but I won't be surprised if Ben also drops out. Now we move on to the breaststroke women.
Can I get meet record in this one? 30.69 is the meet record. In fact, it's got to be 30.47 now, as Imogen Clark did that this morning.
Clark, the British record holder, 30.04. Vasey, 31.66 from Marseille, and Hanlon 31 low very recently, so it's going to be all over the place. But I think Clark is going to come out with some fierce pace in this first 50, the 50 specialist, British record holder. Cara Hanlon, more of a 200 and 100 specialist, but holding her own in the 50, that's for sure, with a 31 low. It's coming from Clark, unsurprisingly, at this stage. Vasey, Hanlon. Hanlon looking very strong, Cara Hanlon coming into the wall, challenging Clark right to the wall. Excellent swim there from all three to take the top 3 spots with Imogen Clark, Cara Hanlon and Sarah Vasey respectively. We eliminate 7 and 8 from that swim.
Yep.
Yeah, I think Cara will be pleased with that, getting close to the 31 barrier. I think very close to our personal best time, and I believe that actually is very close to a qualification standard for the female 50-metre breaststroke. Very close, so it's 31.25, and she was 31.3, so again, very close to that. Great to see with trials in 3-4 weeks' time. Again, I think we're waiting for that 90-second gap between. It's 3-minute turnaround. There's the warning klaxon, and unsurprisingly, we've got a lot of dropouts here.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised to see Ben and Lewis drop out.
So the way this will work, we have 4, we should have 6. So all 4 will technically swim again.
Yeah, and who's in the know? I don't think any of them are aware of that because they all look like they're absolutely going for it, and fair enough. Yeah, all 4 of them will be progressing based off the guidelines, but it's coming up from the top of the pool. Tom Dean, 200 swimmer, unsurprisingly, the Olympic champion in the 200 freestyle, so again, he's well capable of putting in some solid training efforts. Also very handy 100 freestyle as well with a 48 low, so he's more than capable of putting in the sprint efforts when needed. Again, I think Tom will be treating this as a bit of a training set. He'll likely do a lot of this sort of stuff in his training. I know with David McNulty at Bath, he does some absolutely brutal training alongside James Guy. So again, I think he'll be shaking that off. David's looking okay. Matt Richards, again, more of a 200 swimmer, so David's more that 50 specialist these days. He's got a good 100, and David's won this event actually outright in 2016 and 17, I believe. So again, David's 17, 18, I should say. So again, David has won this event in the past. So again, don't discredit him, but it's going to be a hard ask against Tom and Matt Richards, respectively. Back to the women's breaststroke. There's the warning. Only have the start now. It's good reaction from Imogen Clark. It's looking like Imogen so far. Cara and Vasey.
Laura Kinley in 6, a wee bit behind them, so she's under pressure. She could be one to drop out and possibly lane 2.
Yeah,
Katie Goodburn
Anna
got
Morgan
a wee bit to
potentially
do.
in 1.
Anna Morgan perhaps.
Looking like Katie Goodburn might be in the firing line, but
Yeah,
the top
Katie,
3 are fairly solidified.
Katie Goodburn will drop out along with Laura Kinley. So the 4 get to do it all again, and 4 will become 3. Matthew Richards 2, David Kimberlidge 3, Jacob Whittle in 6, Tom Dean in 7.
It's also worth noting that the time from Imogen Clark both this morning and in that final was actually under the nomination standard for the 50 breaststroke for Team England, so again she's in a good place. Of course the policies will differ depending on how many events you can do. Can you do more than a 50, the 100? But again, good to see you in a position already, but as we expected, we've got the same 4 athletes back, and we will drop 1 in this race.
So good, glad we've clarified that and got it right. Always good to know that.
An excellent start from Tom Dean up on the top there. Again, doing the work in the afternoon session. Up in lane 7, a dominating third 50 here. Again, that breathing every second stroke. He's looking powerful, looking in control. Probably working harder than he needed to there, but 23.5 is a very solid time for a third effort at this point. Again, like I said, likely Tom is treating this as a training set, more than likely, but it was a solid performance. Again, well in control. It was close between Richards and David at the end there, but David just dropping out. Again, like I said, his focus at the moment very much is on the 50. So the one effort, but it's great to see him get into the mix in the third round. But it will be an all 100 and 200 final, unsurprisingly. Final 3. And back to the other end of the pool for the women, we have 4. We have Anna Morgan out in lane 1 by herself. Then we have the usual suspects with Imogen Clark, Cara Hanlon, and Vasey, I believe, in 3. Again, Hanlon's got a good 200, but Vasey and Imogen have also got very excellent hundreds, as does Cara, so it's going to be an interesting one here. It's likely Anna will be in the firing line based off the last few swims.
She's off to a fairly good start, but she needs a good start. She's there or thereabouts. At the moment, Vasey, Clark, Hanlon.
I would actually arguably say it was maybe Hanlon taking that second slot. Yeah. Again, her 200 background coming through strongly. I think Clark, Imogen either being tactical here or she is putting herself in a bit of position. Anna Morgan might have the,
she might
have
just
the gap
sneak in
here,
there.
Sneak in the door.
Anna Morgan might just
she is indeed. Very good job there. Excellent from Anna Morgan.
Imogen Clark dropping out.
Yeah, again, Imogen Clark, more of a 50 specialist. She can put in a decent 100, but she's well known for the 50 abilities. And again, Cara and Vasey are, again, Cara's more of a 100 specialist, but has a very good 200, and Vasey, again, more of a 100 specialist. So it's not surprising to see those athletes making it through into the final three. The final three for the men's. 3 Olympic gold medalists. With, two. With Whittle, an Olympian in his own right, but it's Matt Richards and Tom Dean that were part of the 4x200, and Tom Dean, the individual 200 gold medalist from the delayed Tokyo Olympics. Again, Tom has looked like he's absolutely maxed every 50 so far, so we'll see how much he's got left, but very impressive so far. Again, excellent reaction time from Tom Dean. It was actually Matt Richards with a 0.67 to a 0.70 for Tom Dean respectively, but again, Tom is motoring away, breathing every 2, keeping that oxygen saturation in the muscles, as is Matt Richards. All 3 of them are breathing every 2. You would be at this stage needing to suck in as much oxygen as possible, but it's looking like Whittle is going to be in the firing line. Richards is going to take it. It's going to be a Tom Dean and Matt Richards head-to-head from Bath National Centre, respectively. But it was another 23 point for Tom Dean, so it's a smattering of sub-24s, which was very impressive. He's maybe feeling it a bit now in the legs, a little bit staggered to get up. Matt Richards breathing a bit heavy. He's going to take his time. Need to get in as much air as possible on this walk back down. It's deceiving. Can actually be really challenging to get yourself from one end of the pool to the other. Believe me, it's. If only you could emulate the feel of this race. It really is quite an experience, particularly towards the final 2 and final 50 itself. And then back to the other end, we've got Cara, Vasey, Hannah Morgan still split across the pool. I'd be very surprised if it wasn't a Hanlon-Vasey 1-2, but again, anything can happen. We can have a disqualification, so it's still all to play for. Anna's done a good job to make it to this stage. Let's see how the reactions are. Again, all 3 are solid.
Good.
Yeah, they were. Very good reactions.
Yeah.
Hannah Morgan looking a little bit laboured, getting a bit caught in the breakout there, and Cara and Vasey looking actually very strong through the first 25, and I think that's
I think it's curtains for Anna Morgan here. Yeah, she just looks a little bit tired, as you say.
Again, unless there's any technical issues, it's going to be a Vasey Hanlon 1-2. Vasey just taking the touch here. Impressive from Vasey so far. Everything's been sub 33. Cara just dipping into 33s, but hopefully she's got a wee bit left to give for the final showdown. Anna Morgan will be exiting, and in the traditional skins manner, they come into the middle of the pool for the final 50. The lactic acid at this point will be through the roof. Maybe not so much for the 200 swimmers. They can maybe naturally lower producers, but it will still be a significant amount of fatigue in the muscles, and again, you need to be sucking in as much air as possible to really put yourself in a position to be finishing strong here. And I've got to say, my money's on Tom Dean, but we'll wait and see how it goes based off his performances so far. It's been very impressive. See if he can produce another sub 24.
Yeah, having qualified for this afternoon's heats. Yeah, actually quite nice if he wins this outright. And he's up for a strong start. And, really motoring now.
Long, powerful stroke, still getting a really good catch, and the legs are absolutely on fire, which is incredible to see. It shows the strength of the 200 Olympic champion. showing his caliber here, and he's going to come in on a 23.60.
Yeah.
It's an impressive 50, considering that would have been a well competitive time for the B final.
Yeah.
But he finished in a fifth rep, a fifth 50, so yeah, great job there. I think they have got the times a bit mixed up on the board there. It was actually Tom.
Yeah, it's the other way around.
And here we go, final showdown for the women. Cara Hanlon, Sari Vesey. You got Vesey from Loughborough National Centre and Cara Hanlon from the University of Edinburgh. Both veterans in their own right. A lot of experience between the pair of them.
Good to see that at the start. Not handshake, but the tradition.
Mutual respect for competitors, rivals, the sports personship, I should say, and it's great to see. Getting to this stage is a challenge in itself. Who wants it more? Very even off the start.
Excellent start from both.
Marginally to Vesey in the breakout. She got a little bit stuck though, and Hanlon's really great rate coming through. It's longer reach from Vesey, but Hanlon's a quicker rater breaststroker. That's the way she performs the event. It's the way she does the 100, but it's going to be really close in the last 15 here. They're both nearly stroke for stroke.
Vesey coming back at Hanlon. There's not much between the two, as you said, Jack. It's Vesey and Hanlon. It's Vesey that's just going to take this. Great race for both of them. 33.62 for Vesey. Cara Hanlon 34.22. I'll be pleased that's over now.
Well, I think Cara will be pleased with that again, and sort of harder training at the moment. I can say from the Edinburgh's perspective, and likely Loughborough as well, will be in a harder training place again with trials in less than a month's time. Good to see that rivalry, competitive rivalry between the Scottish centres and the English centres at Loughborough. Yeah, and it was impressive from Vesey holding on into 33s throughout, never dropped below, or above I should say, into 34, so that was an impressive run of swims, and Cara really did everything she could there, didn't she?
Yeah, she did.
That first 15 she came up with conviction and got a really good breakout, but yeah, Vesey just managed to hold on and pull away at the end.
So we had an 800 for the women earlier on. This is the fastest heat of the men's 800 freestyle. So going in lane 1, we have Hector Pardo representing Loughborough. In 2, representing Swim Ireland, Nathan Whiffen. In lane 3, representing Loughborough, Toby Robinson. In lane 4, representing Bath National Centre, is Kieran Bird. In 5, representing Swim Ireland, Daniel Whiffen. In lane 6, representing Loughborough, is Will Bell. In lane number 7, representing Spain, Carlos Garcia Benito. And in lane 8, representing Israel, Meir Goralins.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what Kieran Bird has in the bag here. It was an absolutely phenomenal swim at the trials last year for the Olympics, where he put an absolute upset in both the 800 and 400 respectively. I think taking a lot of people by surprise from the performance he put in, getting well into contention and securing a spot in the Olympic team. So again, I think that would have taken a few people off guard, but again, it will be interesting to see where he's at this point in the season. Got he swims out of Bath National Centre, and seeing Toby Robinson again, who was in the 1500 yesterday, and Hector Pardo, the world record holder marathon swimmer. So that's 25 kilometres, believe it or not, open water, and he did that in sub 5 hours, the first person to do so back in 2020. So again, an 800 for him, it very much is a sprint when you're doing a 25k.
Yeah, that's some swim 5 hours for 25k.
Couldn't even comprehend.
No.
But yeah, much shorter and sharper here. But again, an 800's an interesting one. It's one of those in-between events. You do need to set a tone, and you can get caught out, as we saw with the women. There was a few was a Spaniard in the outside lane that made a move around that 500 metre mark. So again, it'll be interesting to see what sort of pacing goes on here. But so far, I think it is Kieran Bird going out to the first 50 again. All to play for at this point. It's only just setting the tone, setting the pace, easing into the race. Kieran's probably excited to get underway with his first swim for a while, and you can see the rate slowing a little bit. He's reduced the rate slightly there, and it's actually Daniel Whiffen who's increased a little bit. Always need to be cautious with backing off the rates, because you can actually diminish your momentum and you can really suffer towards the end if you back off too much. I've made that mistake before. I think you're reserving energy and then you have to work harder to get back up to speed again, so it can be counterproductive. But again, it's a tactical decision on 800. It's interesting to see who's going to their legs more than the rest, and again, the centre lane's not seeing too much whitewash at this point. A few splashes here and there. I think Whiffen in particular, Daniel's looking in control, just letting the legs relax, sort of flowing behind the main stroke. He's got a sort of even a 2-beat kick, very relaxed, but he's still managing to be productive around the walls. You don't often see butterfly kick in the distance events, maybe in the last 50, but again, you would put yourself in a very tough position coming home if you're maximising the walls too much in the distance events. I think you'd run out of oxygen very quickly. And it is still Whiffen stretching out. Bird's going to have to be careful here with a challenge up in lane 7 as well from Carlos. You need to be careful, it's coming from all over the pool. It can be quite a confusing race if you're caught off guard. Yeah, another Loughborough swimmer from Will Bell, bring himself back up, and outside lane and number 1 Hector Pardo again. We mentioned him at the start. Likely he'll be able to go all day. If we left him here, we'd see him again in the morning. He'd just be swimming away.
Yeah.
25 kilometres in the open water. I literally can't comprehend. Even just standing for 5 hours or walking around for 5 hours, let alone competitively racing. So, geez, that's hats off. Yeah, he's still holding his own in the outside lane there, but it is in the centre from Daniel Whiffen that's still holding that lead. The only athlete to split in the 29s there, 29.8. So that's a bit of an injection of pace from the 30 points he's been holding. 30.0, so he's dipped just back above, but it's still 30-point low. Carlos again, 30.0, 30.3 from Tobias Robinson. So again, it's if you cross the board, it's a bit of a different pace race so far. Lane 4, Kieran Bird is a little bit behind again. We don't know where people are in the training phase.
We're pacing at something like 60.5 seconds, whereas at the moment Whiffen pacing virtually bang on a minute.
So I think if any of the athletes here can challenge that 8-minute barrier, they'll be doing very well. It's particularly in season, as we like to say, unrested or untargeted meets. It's likely in tougher training, so if you can get down close to these barriers, these percentage margins from your personal best times, you're doing well. But again, Whiffen is holding a very good pace here. If he keeps this going, he will be in potential to dip under that 8-minute, but particularly if you have a bit of a flurry of a sprint finish, which you quite often see in the final 75 to 50 metres. Good contest out from Carlos, the 18-year-old from Spain. Again, if he can put himself up there, he's entered in a 8:04, he'll be challenging that time as well. The likes of lane 3 from Toby Robinson, again well experienced open water athlete, does come into the pool. He's more of a 5k, 10k swimmer in the pool, does go up to those marathon distances, but again it's a different bag for him, a much more controlled environment. But again, a lot of these athletes will train in the pool. They'll do a lot of their training sessions in the swimming pool, so they're no stranger to the environment and the pacing involved and required. Carlos making a bit of a move now up in lane 7. He's closing the gap on Whiffen. Down to less than a second, just over a second, less than a second. Yeah, it's heating up now. So we move towards the final 250 metres.
Whiffen pacing just around about 61 seconds. But Carlos is certainly getting a little bit extra the last couple of hundred, closing down.
Yeah, Whiffen's still holding it together. He's got a good stroke there. He's longer stroke. Carlos a bit more of a lopsided stroke, bilateral, that right arm coming in a bit, a different angle. Again, it's interesting to see the different approaches to the technique. There's no right or wrong. How long is a piece of string? As long as you get from A to B in an efficient and effective manner, that is the correct way to perform the stroke. So you can see that in the freestyle in particular, with it being a bilateral discipline, unlike the breaststroke and the butterfly, where it is unilateral and a more power-based stroke. So it's always interesting to see the different approaches, particularly when we saw the likes of the big sprinters, the freestylers, and the 50 metres, and now we're in the 800. So again, there's lots of different techniques involved, but makes it for a more interesting event. So we've got Whiffen. You'll be aware he's breathing to his left there, so you can see Carlos, and Carlos breathing to his right. So they'll be able to see each other there. Definitely happens in the distance events. I did frequent the odd 1500 back in the day, so I'm well aware of the need to be in control of your surroundings and know what your competitors are up to. Wasn't any good at the old 1500, I must say, but I still did it.
Yep.
But I definitely did utilise reaching and looking across, and the glory, the relief of hearing the bell that will soon sound now. The last 100 metres means the athletes, in case they have lost count, they'll be well aware it's the final 100, although at this level I'll be surprised if anyone wasn't in full control. Again, they're going to get close to that barrier of 8 minutes. Yeah. Again, depending on what Whiffen's got left in the legs. Breathing across to Carlos. And Carlos put in a late challenge. It's looking like a secured third place for Toby Robinson. Not much challenge behind, and he's a bit out of reach for the top two, but it's very much going to come down to a Whiffen and Carlos battle. Whiffen's really been in control from early on in this race, and again, it's looking like he's going to do enough, but Carlos is breathing towards him. Carlos's rate has gone through the roof now. He's doing everything he can to get back in, but Whiffen's gone to the legs now. You can see the splash, the wash coming off the leg. Going to be very close to that sub-barrier. Carlos is doing everything he can to come into the wall. He's really reaching. Who's going to put their head down? Who wants it? Carlos is breathing towards him. You can see him. He puts his head down towards the finish. Oh,
Whiffen just gets it.
Great effort towards the wall there. In 8 minutes, 0.55 and 8 minutes, 0.99 respectively, and a 8:06 for Ryan Robinson. It's a new junior record for this event.
Yeah.
Very well done there to Carlos and Daniel Whiffen. That was an excellent swim from the pair of them. Yes, it was Carlos getting that junior record. He was entered in 8:046 and getting very close to that elusive sub-8 barrier. So, great swim.
Indeed.
Now we're back onto the final event of the evening, which is the women's 200 metre freestyle. Again, similar format. We have the junior, B final and A final. Again, it'll be an interesting one. We've got the likes of Abby Wood and Frey Anderson in the A. Great to see Amy Canny put in a stellar performance in the skins yesterday. I'm looking forward to that A final, but first and foremost we have the juniors. Again, a mixed bag here. Just wait for the timekeepers to catch official results from the 800 freestyle. As it stands, there's been no change, no disqualifications.
That's it on the screen. That's good. So that would suggest that we're good to go in just a moment. That will clear. And we have the 200 free junior final. One of the swimmers withdrawing from one of the earlier finals goes in this one, in lane 3. We'll introduce the swimmers in lane 1. Sophie Davis from Millfield. 2, Molly McCallum from Swim Ireland. 3, Drew McKenzie, City of Glasgow. 4, Erin Little, Swim England. 5, Carla Karen Munia from Spain. And 6, Natasha Simpson, Wonder Baths. 7, Holly Widows, Mount Kelly. And 8, Ruby Griffiths, Mount Kelly.
Yeah, well, on on paper it's going to be lane 4 with a 2:04, but like we've said so often, what someone does in the heat doesn't necessarily dictate what will be going on in the final. So yeah, it is coming from lane 4. In fairness to Erin, she put in a good performance this morning of a 2:04, and she's splitting in a 28.2, nearly a second ahead from even second place. It's a very powerful first 50. Although we do have a few 400 athletes in this field from yesterday's junior performances of Natasha. So again, it'll be interesting. Carla, again, putting in performances from yesterday in the 400, so likely have the back end, as we like to say in the swimming field, meaning the second half of the race or the final 50. But it is Erin going out with conviction here to this first 100 and splitting in a 59.6. She's doing a great job there. Splitting in the sub-60 is a fantastic effort, but see if she can hold on to this. She's got significant challenge there from lane 5 and lane 3 there.
Yeah, Stu McKenzie, who didn't take part in I think the backstroke earlier, coming through to try and make a challenge, but Carla, no. The Spaniard is serious threat now. Coming to the 50, last 50, and Erin Little by 300s, and off the wall. The Spaniard got that little bit extra. Can she find that little bit more down this final stretch? Two of them almost stroke for stroke here, Jack.
Yeah, it's an excellent finish coming in here from Erin and Carla on for about a 2:03, 2:04 pace. It's looking really strong here if they can get their hand into the wall. Erin's got a great last 15, last 10 challenge, last 5 head down. Erin's got an excellent
Little's
finish
going to take
stretch.
this. Little
well
takes
done.
it.
Wow, sub 2:3 for both of them. That's very impressive.
Stu McKenzie in third.
Significant drops there for both of them, and Erin looks delighted with that. Again, likely a personal best time, I would imagine, with a 2:02.9. Just wait for the confirmation.
Yep.
But again, as the juniors coming in here, putting it on the line, throwing it down to the seniors. The senior athletes will be looking at that and thinking, oh, 2:02, that's moving, that's a decent time. That's competitive for the B final, definitely, and even the outside lanes of the A. So again, that's a great result. 2:02.8 and
2:82 and 2:98.
Again, Erin putting herself in the, raising a few eyebrows with selection for junior competitions to come. You've got the European Juniors, the European Youth Olympics, and even the Senior Commonwealth Games. Why not? I mean, there's been younger athletes that have qualified, 16, 17, 18-year-olds. I mean, if you can throw yourself in the mix, and England will have a big team, being the home nation. They have an extra athlete per event, so it's a bigger team. So again, it's likely why the Swim England have put in such a big team here, but onto the B final.
Georgina Dennis from Loughborough in 1. Ambahera Nancio from Spain in 2. 3, Tamron Munselm, Millfield School. 4, Victoria Catterson, Swim Ireland. 5, Emma Russell, Stirling University. 6, Daria Golovati, our junior from Israel, the only junior left to swim. 7, Jess Proda from Loughborough University. And 8, Caroline Jensen, Hovenstadt.
Yeah, I've got one junior left here with Daria from Israel. So she's down as a 2:02.71 from this morning. So if she matches that, she could take the title for the juniors. But it is Victoria Catterson from Swim Ireland that takes the first 50, followed by Emma Russell and Daria, again the junior from lane 6. So it's good to see you getting in the mix. Emma Russell got a very, very long stroke, loping stroke, of the traditional 100 and 200 stroke that you would expect to see, training at Stirling. And you've got the contest from Ireland and Spain to her left.
Well, all 8 rather, separate by less than 3/4 of a second.
Yeah, and it's actually Tamron from lane 3 that's coming through from Millfield. Did a good job there. Pace that second 50 again. You want to think about breaking down your race into 50s or 75s, even some athletes, in the way they break it down into 150 and then come into that final 50. The rate, the leg pace will increase. And again, it's still lane 3. Tamron putting in a really good job, powering through in a 31.3. pulling away from the field by 0.3 or 4 there. And contest coming back from the middle of the pool, but Tamron's putting in a great job to hold on. Late challenge from lane 4, Victoria and Emma Russell from 5, but I think it's going to be Tamron coming into the wall now.
And certainly Tamron has this well wrapped up. Victoria in second, and in lane 6, I think. Well, she didn't quite get 2:02.82, 2:03.39. Our junior from Israel, Daria.
So it will be Erin Little that takes that junior title. 2:02.8, or even 2:02.8, and this final would have come second. So it shows you the calibre of that swim from Erin Little. So great job, but good performance there from Tamron. She made a nice drop from heat to finals and took the win. And we move on to the A final event, final race of this evening.
Summer's just getting ready, and as you see, representing Spain going in 1, Anoa Mazuka. In lane 2 from Nova Centurion, Freya Colbert. In lane 3 from Loughborough is Abby Wood. In lane 4 from Bath National Centre is Freya Anderson. In lane 5 from Plymouth Leander, Amy Canning. In lane 6 from Stirling University, Lucy Hope. In lane 7 from Garvencio, Ness Levin. And finally, in lane 8 from Edinburgh University, Monique Olivier. Freya Anderson won her last night at the 400, which might have been a little bit of a surprise.
Yeah, well, Anderson was on good form at McCulloch a few weeks ago with a 1:59.66. Good performance, and Canny and a stellar performance in the skins. I mean, that really is a test of your endurance and your capacity, so we're looking to see if Canny can emulate that in the lane next to her, and of course don't discount Abby Wood and Lucy Hope, who have put in strong performances last year. Abby Wood in particular capable of well into the sub 2 minutes, but we'll see where everyone's at this point in the season. Be expecting Freya and Canny to go for this year. If Freya can get down to what she did a few weeks ago into that sub 2 minutes, that will be putting in a great position to take the title here. I think Abby Wood will be pushing all the way though.
Abby Wood off to a good start in 3 along with Freya Anderson in 4, but going a little bit better early doors is Amy Canny in lane 5, and in 6 Lucy Hope up there as well.
Yeah, Canny had the speed yesterday and also finished very strongly. Surprised by an extra 50 they had to do, and she still put in a great time. So yeah, I think if she can translate that into the 200, she'll be in a good position. But Lucy Hope still holding herself in contention there in second place. It's Amy Canny and Lucy Hope respectively, and Abby Wood and Freya. Freya quite often doing this, coming back very strongly. And it is looking to be a Canny Freya Hope initially. Abby Wood slipping off the pace slightly now.
Freya Anderson almost upsides halfway. Canny, Anderson and Hope.
Yeah, really good turn there from Freya. You could see the reach off the wall. She's such a ranged athlete. Really long stroke. Leaves herself, the other athletes, a lot to do to keep up with her capabilities. Really strong leg kick in the last 50, so we'll see what happens here. But Canny's still holding on right across the lane line, as is Abby Wood. They're both trying to catch onto that wave of Freya. And Abby Wood's coming back a little bit now, so she's not out the race for the medal position. Really gone under waters there from Abby Wood. So Freya Anderson still powering away. Canny breathing towards her. Her legs are coming in now. Again, I think Freya's going to be taking this. She's going to her legs a bit now.
Just beginning to pull away now inside the final 20. Freya Anderson has this one pretty wrapped up now. Amy Canny holding on for second, with Abby Wood finishing strongly. Freya Anderson is going to take this. Second place, Amy Canny, and very close for third. I think Freya Colbert maybe just... she's stretched out that little bit extra to just touch in third place ahead of Abby Wood.
Yeah, that was a really good job from Freya Colbert. Again, the 200 swimmer. The 400 swimmer, I should say, coming in and seeking at the end of 30.6, final 50, blisteringly quick. It's actually quicker than Freya closed as well, so really good job to dip under that 2-minute mark. Good job from Freya.
1:58.
Both Freyas respectively dipping into the sub 1:59. I think Freya Anderson will be pleased with that, well into the 1:58. And Amy Canny again said to look out for based on the performance in the skins yesterday, and she did deliver. And Freya Colbert coming in at the end there.
Very strong finish from Freya Colbert to just snatch that third place. Three swimmers under the 2-minute mark there, Jack.
Yeah, I think Abby would have liked to have dipped into the 1:59s, but again, likely in a harder training place, and is pre-selected for the games, so will likely be training through at trials anyway. So yeah, that concludes the racing for this evening. Yeah,
so thanks very much, Jack. Jack Thought with us this evening. I've been Robert Taylor. I hope you've enjoyed the coverage from the Royal Commonwealth Pool, session 6. We're back tomorrow, so please join us tomorrow. Coverage starts at 8:25. So from Jack and myself, goodbye from Edinburgh.